Vegas, Nevada. Coming to you from the brand new T-Mobile Arena. It's only been open 1 month, and tonight, over 17,500 fans will witness the first boxing card ever held at this venue. The arena will be christened by Canelo Alvarez against Amir for a middleweight title belt and the lineal middleweight championship of the world. We look forward to our main event, which comes a couple of hours from now. But before Canelo, we have a 3-fight undercard, beginning with young, undefeated Brazilian Patrick Teixeira. He'll be stepping up in class to face hard-hitting veteran Curtis Stevens. Then we have another youth versus experience matchup with 35-year-old Mauricio Herrera taking on Frankie Gomez, who needs a win to continue being relevant himself. And in our final bout before the main event, David Lemieux, coming off his loss last year to Gennady Golovkin, looks to rebound against New Jersey's Glen Tapia, who's on the comeback trail himself. Canelo versus is being brought to you by, live from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Cerveza Tecate, Born Bold, O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Doom, Fight Like Hell on May 13th. The new movie Hands of Stone, the true story of Roberto Duran, starring Edgar Ramirez, Robert De Niro, and Usher Raymond, in theaters this August. Casa Mexico Tequila, it's in the taste. And by HBO Pay-Per-View, the best in pay-per-view entertainment, brought to you by HBO. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley, welcoming you to the special HBO pay-per-view presentation. The evening will climax with the main event between Canelo Alvarez and Amir Khan, a creative matchup which observes the time-honored interface of speed versus power. Khan with tremendous hand and foot speed, but moving up to fight at 155 pounds for the first time in his career. Canelo Alvarez defending at his chosen catch weight, the lineal middleweight championship of the world. That'll be the main event. We're going to start the undercard in the middleweight division with Patrick Teixeira of Brazil, a junior middleweight moving up to middleweight for this fight, against American veteran Curtis Stevens. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape now for Teixeira against Stevens, and you will see the 6-year age advantage for the unbeaten Brazilian fighter. He's also got a 5.5-inch height advantage over Stevens, who is a knockout puncher. Arm length advantage of 2 inches for Teixeira, measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. And he's a southpaw, who weighed in 1 pound under the 160-pound limit. Stevens, a conventional stance fighter, right at the weight limit. And tonight, unofficially, Teixeira has gone up to 168. Remember, he plans to go back down to 154 after this fight. And Stevens has rehydrated to an unofficial 7-pound weight advantage entering the ring at 175. Now let's go to ring announcer Joe Martinez for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, live worldwide on HBO pay-per-view from the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Fight fans, a very good evening and welcome to an exciting night of world-class championship boxing, brought to you by Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions. And we are set to go with our first bout tonight, 10 rounds of boxing for the vacant WBC de las Americas Middleweight Championship. Presented by Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions in association with Main Events. Sponsored by Cerveza Tecate Born Bold, O'Reilly Auto Parts, Casa Mexico Tequila, Doom out May 13th, and Hands of Stone, the true story of Roberto Duran, starring Edgar Ramirez, Robert De Niro, and Usher Raymond, in theaters everywhere this August. The WBC supervisor for this bout is Sam Macias. 3 judges scoring at ringside, Tim Cheatham, Eric Cheek, and Don Trella. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Tony Wiggs. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing silver with green and red, he weighed in officially 160 pounds even. His professional record stands at 27 victories, 5 defeats, 20 wins by way of knockout. Fighting out of and representing Brooklyn, New York, he is the cerebral assassin, Curtis Stevens. And next, his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black with gold, he weighed in 159 pounds. In 26 professional bouts, he stands perfect with 26 victories, including 22 big wins coming by way of knockout from Sombrio, Santa Catarina, Brazil, here is the undefeated Patrick Teixeira!
Okay, here we go. Okay, gentlemen, caballeros, you already received your instructions. Usted recibió instrucciones. Okay, it goes right here. It's okay. In below, that's low. Mira, aquí está bien, aquí no. It goes right here. It's okay. In below, that's low. Mira, aquí está bien, aquí no. Keep everything above the waist. Dale todo para arriba. I want a good, clean fight. Yo quiero una pelea limpia. Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Escúchame, cuídate. Listos? Let's go. Vámonos.
Patrick Teixeira is trying to add the biggest name of his pro career to his resume. 25-year-old prospect. And meantime, Curtis Stevens, the veteran, doesn't always move his hands enough, which is a shame because he has one-punch power.
Patrick Teixeira, born and raised in a rural outpost in Brazil. His father left home when he was a small boy. He left home and poverty at age 14 to move to Sao Paulo and immerse himself in boxing. Tonight is the biggest night of his life.
Biggest night of his life, and probably against the biggest puncher of his career so far.
Stevens has come out a little more aggressively than he sometimes does, Roy.
Yeah, well, he got John David in his corner now, and John David wasn't the most powerful puncher, but he was known for a punch output. So I'm sure this helps Stevenson with his punch output, because John David was definitely a technician and a good guy when it came to putting out punches.
And Stevens says that the thing that John David Jackson, tremendously successful trainer of Sergey Kovalev, has been trying to get across to him is relaxation. He says that Stevens is too tense, too tight, always trying to land the big shot, that it would be easier if he could get in there, let his muscles loosen up, and let it flow.
Yeah, let it flow, get warm first. Once you get warm and get your hands used to coming like that, you just
He landed a hard left hook, and Teixeira is hurt here early in the first round.
He hurt Teixeira with a jab, actually, Jim.
It's a classic crossroads fight. The young prospect seeing if he can take the next step, and the older veteran who's lost some fights seeing if he can adjust to kind of boxing middle age. The curse of having a lot of power is often that the fighters don't move their hands enough trying to land that perfect shot. This is a very good-looking Curtis Stevens so far.
Yes, it is. This is the Curtis Stevens we always wanted to see. Just has to stay calm, stay relaxed, and try to land those shots again.
And you made a great point, Roy. He did hurt Teixeira with a jab. I reflexively called it a left hook because normally you don't see that kind of reaction from a jab instead of from a power shot. But indeed, it was a jab, and every time Stevens has touched Teixeira with the left hand, Teixeira has gotten a look on his face that seems to indicate this is a different world than where I've been before.
It's a total different world than where he's been before. Like I said, it is his biggest night, but it also is against his biggest punching opponent.
Stevens' claim to fame so far as a pro is actually his loss to Gennady Golovkin to Triple G. He wanted that fight, one of the few middleweights who could create some intrigue because of his power with Triple G, at least on paper. He called for the fight, and the image that people remember was him exhaling when he got dropped from the left hook, like, wow, what was that?
Well, the thing about that was, Max, was he's used to being that guy who everybody fears the punching power. Usually when a guy that's used to being feared, is shocking to him to see someone who hits just as hard or harder than himself. So he was a bit shocked.
Teixeira seems to be getting a little bit more comfortable now. As round one comes to a close, he began to move more fluidly, landed a couple of jabs down the stretch. So we'll see if after a rough round one, Patrick Teixeira can steady himself and gain control against Curtis Stevens.
Good work. Listen, see what you're doing to him with the shots? Get inside. You get inside real nice. When you get inside with his cap, keep making that roll. Slip, and touch him. See, make that slip, touch him. His jab is terribly slow. Yeah. Make that slip, go to the body, back head with that hook. Then come back to right hand. Okay. Once you get inside, you give me those combinations. The work is good, and the jab is, man, the jab's killing him all night long. Yeah. All right? Just got to time it. Take your time.
He see Teixeira come out, throw his jab. Curtis blocked his jab and countered it with a jab. Something that he's probably never seen before, and that jab hurt him. You saw his knees buckle. He took off going backwards. He was in bad trouble right there. from a jab.
Kind of thing Golovkin does to people.
Yes, it is. Maybe Curtis learned that from Golovkin.
Round 2 begins. Fight is scheduled for 10 rounds. Patrick Teixeira comes in with an unbeaten record, 26-0, 22 knockouts against vastly inferior opposition than what he's going against tonight in Curtis Stevens. But Teixeira looks already here in the second round as though he's a little bit steadier and more confident as he lands a couple left-hand leads.
He just ate an overhand right, and he is a little more comfortable, Jim. But what I don't like about Teixeira is that he doesn't have explosiveness on his punches. When you don't punch explosively, you don't make guys fear your punching power. Curtis is throwing explosive punches. Even that jab was explosive. That's why it hurt Teixeira when it caught him, because he's not used to receiving explosive punches.
And you heard John David Jackson saying to Curtis between rounds, Teixeira's jab is painfully slow. And now Stevens counters it, and down goes Teixeira.
With the overhand right. And Teixeira is in big trouble. And that's what I mean, Jim. He never faced nobody with this type of explosiveness. He's done.
And Tony Weeks is going to stop the fight, because Teixeira, who had never previously been knocked down in his career, could not regain his equilibrium after standing up. And that's the kind of puncher Curtis Stevens has been for a long time.
And we all often saw it with his left hand, but we never saw it with his right hand, I don't think. I think that's the first time we really saw him cold cock somebody with that overhand right.
How interesting is it, Roy, that John David Jackson, who was himself sort of typecast as a defensive fighter, is turning out to be an outstanding trainer of offensively aggressive fighters?
Because most of these offensively aggressive fighters, the only thing they lack is their output and their defensive abilities. That's why Kovalev went to him, because he was an all-offensive fighter. He went to John David to develop defense amongst that offense, which made him a completely well-rounded fighter.
Let's take a look at a replay of the knockout.
Yeah, your overhand right. You see Teixeira try to throw a right uppercut from the outside, left uppercut, which did land, but Curtis landed an overhand right afterwards. And the thing about that is, Jim, a tall fighter should never reach from that distance for an uppercut against a shorter fighter, because you saw he did land the punch. Watch, he landed the shot, but look what he exposed himself to. He swapped the overhand uppercut left for overhand right. That overhand right had much more leverage on it because he came high with the uppercut, where Curtis Stevens stayed low and delivered the overhand right.
Of course, in modern boxing history, the most famous instance of this was Buster Douglas throwing an uppercut from distance against Evander Holyfield, and Holyfield immediately countering, just as you saw there, with a right hand that knocked Douglas into next week and seized the heavyweight championship for Evander Holyfield. Let's go to Joe Martinez for the particulars on the knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at the official time. 1 minute, 4 seconds, round number 2. Referee Tony Weeks puts a halt to this bout. Your winner by TKO, the cerebral assassin, Curtis Stevens. T-Mobile Arena, give it up for Curtis Stevens.
Biggest night of Patrick Teixeira's life is now maybe the worst night of Patrick Teixeira's life. And you see that the CompuBox numbers were fairly equal. The difference was in the power of the punches, which were landing. Teixeira, a loose-armed, low-power type fighter. You saw that, and Stevens stepped inside, landed big shots, and knocked him out. Power punches, and it's sort of a euphemism to even call Patrick Teixeira's punches power punches. They have no power on them. However, Curtis Stevens does throw with big authority. Landed 14 out of 45. There was one solid left jab that really hurt Teixeira, and then the right hand over the uppercut in the second round produced the knockout. Let's go to Max Kellerman, standing by with Curtis Stevens.
Congratulations, Curtis. First, there was a sense that this was a crossroads fight, undefeated prospect, and you're being brought in as the veteran so he could put a name on his resume. How did you feel about that coming in tonight?
Well, it be like that sometime, you know. This is boxing. It was all good, you know. When they called me for the fight, I watched them. I was like, okay, no problem. They want to put a young lion there with a lion that's been in the jungle already. So I said the young lion will try to come take over the jungle, but it wasn't happening tonight.
And yet, this is a Curtis Stevens we haven't seen before. At least I haven't seen this guy. I've been waiting for this guy since you were an amateur. Let your hands go, roll, get inside.
Where's this guy been your entire career?
You know, in the amateurs, I always knock people out, so I was always looking for the one shot. You know, me and John been in the gym working on the right hand and the slipping, you know. Just got back to the basics, you know. I just lost focus on what got me to where I was at, so just had to bring it all back.
You were moving your hands a lot early, and you didn't let him off the hook in the second round. Yet now you call yourself the cerebral assassin, but you're fighting, I think, more aggressively than you fought in the past.
It all come in time, you know. It was God's work. God wanted me to be right here right now to shine, so I shine tonight.
What are you looking for next?
A title fight. Been off for a year and a half. I came back, took the young lion out that had undefeated record game, his first loss. So whatever's next, you know, I'm just waiting on the contract, waiting on somebody to sign it, and waiting for the phone call.
Congratulations, and hopefully we see more of this guy. That guy's a lot of fun to watch. Jim?
Thank you.
Strip and surrounding area have been transformed once again, this time by the brand new T-Mobile Arena. Still to come here tonight, Mauricio Herrera takes on Frankie Gomez, who needs a win to regain his rising star status. Then David Lemieux, 7 months since his loss to Gennady Golovkin, looks to rebound against Glen Tapia, who's on the comeback trail himself. And then our main event, lineal middleweight champ Canelo Alvarez, coming off his career best win over Miguel Cotto, takes on Amir, who surprised everyone and is risking a lot in taking this bout. Before we continue, a look at what's coming from HBO Boxing. On Wednesday, it's the next installment of my show, The Fight Game. Join me, Max Kellerman, Bernard Hopkins, and Melissa Stark as we discuss top-of-mind boxing news and storylines. June 4, Boxing After Dark travels to Carson, California, as Francisco Vargas, who starred in 2015's Fight of the Year against Takashi Miura, puts his title on the line against Mexican veteran Orlando Salido. June 11, from the theater at Madison Square Garden, Ukrainian two-time Olympic gold medalist Vasily Lomachenko moves up in weight to square off against Puerto Rico's Rocky Martinez, who puts his 130-pound title on the line. Also that night, Puerto Rico's rising star Felix Verdejo takes on Mexico's Juan Jose Martinez. July 23, it's the 140-pound unification bout between two of the sport's most skilled fighters. Omaha native Terrence Crawford makes his ring return after his 5th-round knockout win over Hank Lundy in February. Crawford wailing away at Lundy in the corner, and Willis is going to stop it. Standing in his way is Victor Postol. Last October, the Ukrainian scored a knockout upset win over Lucas Matisse. This is over. Victor Postol has knocked out Lucas Matisse. Now, the two unbeaten fighters will meet for 140-pound supremacy on HBO pay-per-view. Don't miss a moment of the action. For more information on the schedule and the fighters, go to HBO.com and InsideHBOBoxing.com. So it goes pretty quickly in the first fight of the evening. Now as we proceed toward Canelo Khan later tonight, let's take a look back at how Canelo Alvarez emphatically seized the lineal middleweight title from Miguel Cotto back in November. Max Kellerman, it was my impression that Canelo used his advantages in this fight to make it a tactical, controlled boxing match.
Well, Canelo doesn't always like to chase guys around, and Cotto was trying to box in semicircles, but because Cotto is the shorter fighter, he had to close the distance to land his shots. When he would do that, Canelo used good upper body movement, avoiding Cotto shots and landing his own good crisp counters, and generally imposed his larger size and greater physical strength on Cotto.
Roy Jones, the larger size and physical strength certainly were advantages for him, but I was never more impressed than on this particular evening with Canelo's defensive skills. He never allowed Cotto to land a left hook that might have changed the fight.
No, he came in meaning that Cotto was not going to land his best punch on him. Cotto never had an opportunity to land a really good left hook, so we still today don't know if Cotto could knock him out with that left hook because Canelo never allowed him to land it.
Ultimately, it was a unanimous decision victory for Canelo. The scores were wide. Two judges saw it 117-11. Cotto was definitely upset about that, but few people disputed that Canelo had clearly won the fight. and he turned his attention forward to what now becomes tonight's defense against Amir Khan. Meanwhile, we're ready for our second bout of the evening, which is Mauricio Herrera against Francisco Gomez, and this is a classic matchup between a skilled, knowledgeable veteran and a young prospect who is regarded as having tremendous potential. You see the 11-year age difference between Herrera and Gomez. A height advantage of a half-inch for the former American amateur star, Gomez. Arm length equal at 23 inches measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. They both weighed in under the 147-pound limit. Gomez ultimately plans to campaign in the 140-pound weight class. He had tremendous difficulty twice last year making that weight level. In fact, he couldn't even get below 147 for a fight back in May a year ago. Now he says he has his life in order and is ready to go forward consistently, and there'll be a 5-pound functional weight advantage coming into the ring tonight for Mauricio Herrera, who, as you see there, weighs 158 on our unofficial HBO scale to 153 for Frankie Gomez.
Ladies and gentlemen, making his way to the ring, fighting out of the blue corner in this welterweight attraction from East LA, Frankie Gomez.
He turned pro 2 years before the 2012 Olympics, Roy Jones, and a lot of people projected instant stardom. It's been difficult for him, largely because of problems outside the ring. Looking at him in our meeting yesterday, do you judge him to be ready now to fulfill all of his potential?
Yeah, I judge him to be ready to fulfill all of his potential, but the only thing, Jim, is in boxing sometimes there's a very short window. If you don't get in that window before it closes on you, then you have really big problems fulfilling your dreams.
An aggressive offensive fighter, Max?
Yes, he's a talented fighter. In the previous fight we just saw, a crossroads fight, a questionable kind of prospect was coming up against a veteran with real punching power. This is a little different. This prospect, in terms of talent, there's not much question that he's talented. The questions are about his discipline and if he can put it all together.
So now Frankie Gomez is in the ring. Golden Boy is hoping for very big things from him.
And his opponent tonight, fighting out of the red corner from Riverside, California, Mauricio Herrera.
There are a lot of hard luck fighters in boxing. This may be the ultimate hard luck guy, man.
Every era has them, Jim. Every era has their hard luck fighter who, under slightly different circumstances, had they gotten the decisions they deserved, etc., would be star fighters. Instead, they keep coming back on TV in fights as the B-side, as the opponent. Here again, Herrera is considered a stepping stone, but beware, because this guy is one of the most cerebral, analytical fighters in the game. It's like having a quarterback who can audible on the line of scrimmage. It's like having a coach out there on the field. He's that kind of brain inside the ring.
It's like having the specialist on your police force who diffuses bombs, Roy. This is a bomb diffuser.
Yes, he's a bomb diffuser, Jim, but it's so bad for him that not only does he get stuck up against these undefeated prospects who are expected to beat him anyway, but this time he's coming in off of his longest inactivity period of his professional career, 301 days, and he's still expected to defuse this bomb.
In 2014, he went to Puerto Rico, and most observers thought that he beat Danny Garcia. Garcia got the decision. In the middle of the year, he got a win. Then he came here to Las Vegas and fought rising prospect Jose Benavidez. And most ringside observers thought that he beat Benavidez. The judges gave Benavidez a unanimous decision. A year, Max, in which he could have been a Fighter of the Year candidate. He was 1-2.
Exactly. He should have been on the ballot for Fighter of the Year, and instead he's 1-2. He should have been 3-0. He was 3-0 in reality.
Let's go to ring announcer Joe Martinez for the official introductions.
Well, fight fans, we are set to go with our next bout tonight. 10 rounds of boxing this scheduled in the welterweight division. Presented by Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions in association with Canelo Promotions. Sponsored by Cerveza Tecate Born Bold, O'Reilly Auto Parts, Casa Mexico Tequila, Doom, out May 13th, and Hands of Stone, the true story of Roberto Duran, starring Edgar Ramirez, Robert De Niro, and Usher Raymond, in theaters this August. The three judges scoring at ringside, Bert Clements, Robert Hoyle, and Steve Weisfeld. When the action begins inside the ring, referee in charge, Vic Draculage. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the colors of Mexico, green, white, and red. He weighed in officially 146 pounds, and as a professional, stands perfect with 20 victories, no defeats, 13 wins by way of knockout. Fighting out of and representing East Los Angeles, California, here is the undefeated Frankie Gomez. And next, his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing blue, trimmed in red. He weighed in 145 1/2 pounds. In 27 professional bouts, his record, 22 victories, 5 defeats with 7 knockouts to his credit. Fighting out of Riverside, California, he is the former WBA light welterweight champion of the world, El Maestro, Mauricio Herrera.
All right, gentlemen, this fight's scheduled for 10 rounds. You received your instructions in the dressing room. Again, I want to caution you. Knee punches below this area is going to be called low. Golpe debajo de este punto ser llamado bajo. That stated, I want you to obey my command, protect yourselves at all times. Obedezcan mis comandos y protegerse a su mismo siempre. Touch them up now. Good luck to both of you. Tóquenlos. One for a count.
Well, the Nevada State Athletic Commission is on a Spanish-speaking roll tonight. There are Tony Weeks flashing his excellent Spanish prior to the last fight, and now Vic Draculage comes into the ring and does the same. Frankie Gomez, as you may have noticed, is trained by the illustrious Freddie Roach. Mauricio Herrera, same trainer he's had since the beginning of his career, Jose Torres. Together they own a boxing gym out in California's Inland Empire.
Herrera, one of those guys, Jim, he's so smart in the ring that he goes out, he figures out what the guy does best, and he kind of just takes the guy apart, takes that away from him. And you love to see that in a guy who does not have a big punch, so he doesn't have to worry about that. He takes a really good punch, so, I mean, he's so extraordinary when it comes to dealing with him until he's just able to stick around and constantly make it difficult for young people.
Hard left hook by Gomez. He's landed 2 of those so far in the fight.
And landed that one from his southpaw position.
Well, he's been sparring with Manny Pacquiao at the Wild Card Gym. Also got in a lot of sparring with Miguel Cotto. This is one of the great advantages of training at a gym like the Wild Card and being under the tutelage of Freddie Roach. You get to learn not only from your trainer, but also from the outstanding superstar fighters against whom you train.
Yes, that's a wonderful advantage of being at the Wild Card Gym.
And Freddie, who's quite enthusiastic about Frankie Gomez, has even gone so far as to say, this is my next Manny Pacquiao. But a lot of people have thought that about Gomez going back well deep into his amateur career, and he hasn't quite fulfilled those expectations. In fact, he hasn't really come anywhere close to fulfilling those expectations yet.
Well, Jim, to say my next Manny Pacquiao, I mean, that's saying a lot. People underestimate that statement, but he could be good. He could be a good puncher. He could be a good boxer, but Manny Pacquiao is something truly exceptional. Foot speed, hand speed, power. You don't see that every day. And right now, just looking at Frankie Gomez, nothing to take bad from him, but he's not going to be a next Manny Pacquiao. No way. Just doesn't have the speed or the power.
And it's possible that Freddie says that to try to get him to work harder, to try to get him to go further toward fulfilling his great potential.
Yeah, and he could have a lot of potential. He could have a lot of upside in him. Some things that Freddie could be proud of, and he could pull off some upsets that maybe Pacquiao couldn't pull off for Freddie. That could be a possibility as well.
We talked about the 301-day layoff for Herrera, who hasn't gotten off to the kind of start here. That was the case against Jose Benavidez the last time we saw Herrera here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and a lot of that is ring rust, Jim. When you haven't been in the ring for 301 days and you come in against a top prospect, it's going to take you a little time to get into the fight. And hopefully in the prospect's favor, he can try to get you out or get ahead of you so far that you can't get in the fight. And right now, Frankie Gomez is doing a good job of staying ahead.
Benavidez, more of a classic tall boxer. Frankie Gomez, who calls himself the pit bull, fights like a pit bull.
Yeah, he's right on top of you, ready to react off of any mistake you make.
Pretty good round for Gomez in round number 1.
Good job. All right. Good job. All right, nice, quick hands, quick combination, okay? All right, you feeling good? Yeah. All right, boy, you look good, okay? Now, remember, don't go to the ropes too often with this guy. He's trying to get on the ropes, okay? All right, so, all right, use your side-to-side move.
Es condición para todo. Este morro no trae nada. ¿Me entiendes? Vamos a empezar. Tú sabes lo que tienes que hacer. ¿Me entiendes? Este morro no trae nada.
Frankie Gomez from the same East Los Angeles neighborhood that produced his promoter, Oscar De La Hoya. He got into boxing very early at age 9 or 10. On the other hand, Mauricio Herrera didn't begin boxing until 18, didn't turn pro until 25. Relatively late booming career for him.
He had to learn how to box on the job, kind of, Jim. He even said there was a long stretch where he taught himself how to box. He used to train himself. So he's a very difficult, very extraordinary guy. But he has a very extraordinary fighter in front of him tonight as well. So Gomez is a really good prospect, somebody we can look forward to in the future. We hope to see him get his life together so we can see bigger and better things out of him.
Herrera has had trouble early on staying away from Gomez's left hand. He lands left hands from awkward angles. And Gomez is beating Herrera to the punch in this round.
Yeah, he's way ahead of Guerrero. He's out in front of him, and you would expect that right now because Herrera hasn't fought in 301 days, so he has to get himself back together.
What about all the time in the gym? What about all the dozens or hundreds of rounds of sparring? It's not the same thing?
Not the same thing because there's only usually at the max 25 people in the gym, and already we have 2,500 here, maybe more. So there's a total different atmosphere.
It's a rainy day in Vegas, and it appears to be a slow arriving crowd. Decent underguard. Might have expected the crowd to arrive a little bit faster, but the rainy day could have something to do with it.
And I think it's a very good undercard, Jim. Fights like this, I mean, these are people we want to see fight. We want to see Herrera. We haven't seen him in a while. We want to see Frankie Gomez because we know of the potential that he has. And, I mean, this is the type of undercard fight we like to see.
Curtis Stevens and Patrick Teixeira didn't turn out to be as good a fight as most had anticipated, but that's because Teixeira, quite obviously, didn't have the kind of ammunition that his record suggested he might have.
Exactly, and he was the guy that they were bringing as the A-side fighter, and he got upset by the B-side fighter because we knew what Stevens brought to the table, but they was not sure who was going to emerge, the young prospect that was undefeated or the old veteran.
Under the left eye of Mauricio Herrera, there is already a mark. And as he turns back toward the camera, we'll try to get a better look.
Yeah, he's bleeding already, Jim.
Bleeding already under their left eye, yep.
Let's go.
Vic Jokulich wants Herrera to keep fighting, and Herrera goes to his corner, thinking perhaps that the doctor was going to take a look.
That's not good for Herrera. Good shot by Gomez.
Herrera's last fight against Hank Lundy was stopped after 5 rounds because of cuts suffered by Herrera's headbutts. He got the technical win, but right now he's the one who is in difficulty as he goes back to his corner with blood flowing under the left eye.
Nice work.
Más activo, amigo. Tú entrenaste bien duro. ¿Qué está pasando? No te preocupes por eso, no es nada. Vamos, tú traes condición, hemos entrenado bien duro. ¿Qué está pasando?
Hands going, right? Nice combinations, okay? All right, you're putting 3 and 4 together, really.
Looks like this right hand followed by a straight left uppercut. Well, not a straight left uppercut right up the middle. It's scraped by his eye, and I think that's what caused the cut, Jim. It didn't land flush. It kind of grazed off the skin, and I think that's what ripped that eye. You see fresh blood come out of it right there.
So already Frankie Gomez has marked Mauricio Herrera in the second round of a scheduled 10. And Herrera had a look-up discouragement as he went back to his corner. Cut under both eyes in the last fight, and now cut again against Frankie Gomez. Gomez in the southpaw stance. It's the third time he switched into that stance. First time he has thrown a punch out on it.
And he's very comfortable as a southpaw. He landed a good left hook or overhand left out of it earlier.
His uppercuts are landing and causing big problems for Mauricio Herrera.
Yeah, big problems. And right now it looks like the old man is in against a little bit more than he expected tonight. So if he is going to have any kind of success tonight, it'll have to be late in this fight, because right now, while Gomez is fresh, he's not the fighter Gomez is.
Frankie Gomez 20-0 to this point in his professional career, 13 knockouts. Had a couple of years of severe inactivity. Only 2 fights per year for a couple of years in a row. He's had some difficulty with the law, as well as a grinding long-term fight for custody of his 5-year-old daughter, which he says has hindered his commitment, focus going into several fights. He now says he's in a better position to command his career as he gets closer to gaining full custody of his daughter, which is his goal.
Herrera landed a good left body shot against ropes in that last exchange, Jim. Those are the type punches you want to see from Herrera if he's going to get into this fight late. But he has to survive early to make it a late fight. Good body shot by Gomez.
Right hand body shot by Frankie Gomez. He's been the sturdier puncher early in the fight. That was to be expected.
Oh, good right hand by Gomez.
Watch your head. Watch your head. Break.
Max Kellerman, we know that Frankie Gomez came into professional boxing with a great amateur pedigree and a lot of expectations. Since then, there's been a great deal of trouble and loss of time, inactivity, etc. What are the expectations now for Frankie?
Well, this is the big fight for him. This could be a star-making performance, and so far it's turning out that way because Herrera is not an easy guy to dominate. Listen, some very good fighters couldn't even beat him in reality. But so far, Gomez is getting the job done in very impressive fashion.
Meanwhile, speaking of impressive, here's Canelo Alvarez, arriving just a short time ago at the arena. 900,000 pay-per-view buys for his battle with Miguel Cotto in November. For the moment, with Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao both claiming to be retired from the sport, Canelo is the straw that stirs the pay-per-view box or drink. And then 5 minutes after Canelo arrived, Amir Khan, who has been campaigning on social media for a fight against a superstar opponent for 5 years now, and finally has it. 3 times he thought he might be in position to fight Floyd Mayweather, and it's clear in retrospect that Mayweather led him on and dangled him and used him as a potential opponent while never seeming really to have had any intention of fighting him. And then, as of last year, discussions began about the possibility of him fighting Manny Pacquiao. That's off the table right now for the time being, as Khan finally gets his big opportunity against Canelo Alvarez. Careful what you wish for. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim, 3-0, 30-27, Frankie Gomez. I tell you, Jim, Frankie Gomez is landing some hard shots in the first 3 rounds. Mauricio Herrera he can't seem to get off. Gomez, I mean, like that left hook you just saw there, there's a nice combination. Good, hard, clean punching, doing more damage. Gomez winning this fight easily. About the cut, Vic Rakiewicz said that the cut was caused by a punch. Said that if the fight gets stopped, it's a TKO win for Gomez. You don't go to the scorecards if the cut is caused by a punch. 3-0 Gomez.
Gomez's nickname is the Pitbull, and Herrera said if he's the Pitbull, I'm the dog whisperer. Meaning that he has this kind of cerebral style, Herrera does, where he analyzes things very carefully. He punches when the other guy wants to take a rest. He fills up those gaps in space and timing to make things awkward for the other guy and tame him. But so far, we just see a disparity in talent level.
That too, Max, but what else is hurting Herrera is the fact that to do those things, you have to have precise timing. Being off for 301 days, his timing cannot be up to par right now. Not that Frankie's not doing a great job of controlling him too, but that also hurts Herrera.
Fighter who wants to be the dog whisperer tonight normally carries the nickname of the Maestro for obvious reasons, based on his penchant for winning fights with his brain as much as with his body.
Right.
Oh, hard right hand by Gomez.
Well, Gomez is really putting some real punches on him tonight.
As is the sense in the main event tonight, Canelo and Khan. Herrera is the Khan in the sense he can't afford to fight a less than perfect fight and still win, it seems, given the talent level, Roy. And a long layoff that affects his timing, that's a bad thing to disrupt in Herrera's timing.
Very bad.
And the net result of all that is that as we proceed toward the end of the fourth round, it's been a little bit of a wipeout so far. Just as Curtis Stevens had way too much punching power for Patrick Teixeira, Frankie Gomez has too much activity, too much life in the ring for Mauricio Herrera, who just hasn't been able to get going.
Herrera just looked at his corner and told him to calm down.
Meaning I'm going to get it together here pretty soon?
I got this. Just calm down. I don't know what it means, Jim.
Herrera just a real fighter.
Yeah, he is.
Work on it.
35 years old. A skilled plumber. So he does have an occupation back to which he can go if things don't turn out well here. Saturday, June 4, Francisco Vargas against Orlando Salido. Vargas was half of the fight of the year last year against Takashi Miura. Salido has been in several fight of the year candidates over the years, so you know what to expect on Saturday, June 4th.
You're just waiting for the counterpunch. Don't. Use your jab, your long jabs, and good stance. A lot of head movement also. I don't want you to wait for it in the corner for you to get hit. No, let's go. Use the jab. Be more active with the jab. I don't want you to wait. Be more active with your legs. Work your legs. Work them more. All right, Mauricio, let's go. Put it all into it. Put all your will into it.
And because I had a frog in my throat, we almost didn't get a chance to tell you about June 11, Vasily Lomachenko against Roman Rocky Martinez in the small room at Madison Square Garden. But you'll be tuning in for that one as well, as we come to round 5 of a scheduled 10 between Mauricio Herrera in the blue trunks with red trim and Frankie Gomez in the red, green, and white. Body shot duel. Gomez backs Herrera up and ultimately gets the better of the body shot duel, though Herrera landed a couple of shots which were among the best he's thrown in the fight.
Good combination by Gomez.
Yeah, Herrera tried applying some pressure. He's trying different things, but nothing's really working.
No.
Hand speed, aggression, combination punching. Gomez is controlling Mauricio Herrera. Has already delivered a big cut under the left eye and seems thoroughly in charge of the fight now as we get to the midpoint of round number 5.
not a big puncher, so when he makes a nice little move, Roy, and catches him at the end of a kind of a hook jab, it's not going to really turn the fight around. He has to land a lot of those.
It's not going to do a thing for him. What he's trying to do is wear Gomez down because he knows that he's not a big enough puncher to match punch power for punch power with Gomez.
We mentioned that Herrera is seen as a guy who diffuses bombs. He beat Ruslan Provodnikov, going the distance with Provodnikov at 140 pounds, 12-round fight back in 2011. He was the winner. He had a similarly close fight with a lot of activity over the course of 10 rounds against Mike Alvarado. Those are guys who can really whack. And he was able to get the better of them.
Yes, and you watch him right now, what he's trying to do to Gomez. He's pushing Gomez, making Gomez punch, but he's constantly trying to land decent body shots. And now Gomez answering with 2 good body shots.
You know, Kareem Mayfield had a pretty good time with Herrera because he's a little more athletic than some of the other guys you mentioned, even if his skill isn't as refined. Gomez here also is using his athletic ability combined with good skills to really have his way with Herrera.
Right. Gomez is like a Kareem Mayfield with skills.
What's wrong? Come on, it's going to be too late. You got to get into it. You got to want it. Come on, we train hard. For what? For nothing? Come on, throw the jabs. When you throw the jabs, you're perfect. When you're going them straight, you let them go to the sides. Come on, head movement, head movement, head movement, and cut the exits. Move the head. Let's go, Mauricio. Close your eyes. It's not just one punch, it's combinations. You got to throw more punches.
One bad thing that's happened to Mauricio Herrera in this fight is that Gomez, to this point, has taken away his jab. In his last 11 fights, Mauricio Herrera was landing 9 jabs per round. That's a big number. The number 1 guy in the sport in that regard is Gennady Golovkin, who lands about 11 jabs per round. But here tonight, Herrera is landing only 3 jabs per round, and it's partially Gomez's movement and partially his aggression and body punching, which has taken away Herrera's jab.
Yeah, the body punching has stricken the jab from Herrera because he wants to keep that left hand at home to guard his body or defend his body. At the same time, Gomez is throwing such good power shots and keeping so much pressure on him that it's not allowing him to throw a jab because it gives Gomez something to work off of.
Gomez so confident right now.
We've never seen Mauricio Herrera outclassed to the degree to which that he has been outclassed in this fight so far.
That's right. And given Gomez's problem making weight in the past, and you can see he's not exactly ripped. Little soft, you know, a little tire around the midsection for a lighter weight fighter. I wonder if Herrera's thinking if he can weather this storm, can he rally late? But it seems too far behind on points anyway.
Well, he would have to win a round at some point. And so far, you can't find a round that you would, logically give to Mauricio Herrera. This is the 6th. So with 1:41 to go in the 6th, it has to start some point. It has to start right now for Herrera to really have a shot. The last thing in the world you would expect is that Herrera is going to rescue himself with a knockout of Frankie Gomez. The last thing.
The absolute last thing. Good body shots, though.
Work out of there. Work out of there, guys. Work out.
Saw earlier the CompuBox numbers graphic that showed you that Frankie Gomez has landed more punches than Mauricio Herrera in every round, and it isn't just that he's landed more punches, he's landing the sharper, harder, more meaningful punches in every round as well.
Yeah, and you can see when Herrera tries to switch things up and take the play away, Gomez's amateur background shows up. He's calm. He doesn't allow it to happen. He doesn't allow Herrera to bother him, turn the tide, goes back to doing what he was doing, neutralize what Herrera's doing. He's a very good young fighter.
Always knows how to break up Herrera's attacks.
And as we come down the stretch of the fight, you'll be remembering that Frankie Gomez has an 11-year age advantage over the 35-year-old Mauricio Herrera.
All right. Ah. Respira duro.
Come on, deep breath.
Mauricio,
Mauricio, we can do this with combinations during your fight. You understand? Be intelligent. Lateral movement, laterals. But you're following him too much straight in. Lateral movement. Don't get so close in. Get your distance.
Here you see Mauricio, not Mauricio, the other cat come in, Gomez come in low, staying low, keeping the pressure on Mauricio, throwing the lower punches, keeping his head low, exchanging. Every time he's hit, he throws 2, 3, 4 or 5 punches to Herrera's 1. Therefore, he's showing how smart he is. He's staying to the right shoulder so that Mauricio can't hit him with nothing big. And he uses his own arm to push Mauricio off, to keep him from punching.
Yeah, his elbow raised up.
Yeah.
Veteran moves out of Gomez for a young fighter.
That comes from sparring with guys like Cotto and Pacquiao.
Here comes a veteran move. Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim, 60-54, 6 rounds to nothing. Frankie Gomez. Jim, I got a possible excuse for this. I mean, outside of Frankie Gomez, banging the heck out of him. Mauricio Herrera was 145.5 at the weigh-in yesterday. On our unofficial scale tonight, he's 158. He gained 13 pounds overnight, and he's a welterweight. You don't gain 13 pounds overnight. I think that extra weight is doing nothing but slowing the guy down because, he always won fights with fast hands, nice boxing, movement, stuff like that. And Gomez is just murdering him. I mean, the fast hands are gone, the movement's gone, all the stuff that made Mauricio Herrera great in the old days is gone. 6-0, Frankie Gomez.
I did think he looked a little dried out yesterday when we spoke to them at the fighter meetings. Herrera did. But I don't know how much of a difference it would have made, Roy.
Well, I don't think it would have made a lot of difference at all, and especially with the 301-day layoff. So when you lay off that much, sometimes you get bigger, so it's harder to come down in weight, which makes you actually go up higher in weight after the weigh-in because your body's been accustomed to being so much heavier for so long. So all those things happen, but you can't take nothing away from Frankie Gomez because he's fighting a really smart fight tonight against a very wily veteran. So I think it's kind of 50-50, but even with Herrera in the best of shape that he could be in, I don't know if he could beat Frankie Gomez.
Doesn't look like it based on this fight.
No.
Let go of that head. Watch that head.
See if, Freddie Roach was comparing Gomez to Pacquiao, saying that's his, most talented guy since Pacquiao, or his new Pacquiao. Pacquiao would close the show, and Gomez here has moments where it looks like he wants to open up and doesn't. It'll be interesting to see if he can close the show in a big way in the next couple rounds. Gomez.
Well, I don't think had Herrera been in front of Pacquiao, he'd be able to take this many punches, this many clean punches to the head like he's taken from Frankie Gomez.
Well, of course, the comparison to guys like Pacquiao and Cotto, with whom Frankie Gomez has been sparring at the wild card gym, is aimed at helping to pump Gomez up and perhaps encouraging him as he goes forward into the future. And he's looked very good here tonight against Herrera. But when you look at the 140-pound weight class in which he wants to fight, there is a signature title fight coming up this summer between unbeaten Terrence Crawford and unbeaten Victor Postol. And it looks as though, as good as Gomez has looked, it would be quite a while before you could put him on the same level as fighters like that.
Up. Don't follow him straight in, please. Head movements to the side. A lot of head movements so you confuse him. Come on, you can catch him in the counter punch. Long jabs, just like you do. You initiate. What's wrong?
Out, make him miss, make him pay, okay? Beautiful.
Don't take too long.
Beautiful. Good work. Good. Very good.
Here's a look at the new T-Mobile Arena. Brand new site on the Las Vegas Strip, or near the Las Vegas Strip. If you know the geography of Las Vegas from having come here yourself, just imagine that you're on the Strip. The arena is over behind New York, New York. Looks like it's a short walk. It's actually farther than you think. And spectacular facility inside. Very modern, reminiscent in some ways of Barclays Center in Brooklyn, and bound to be the site of some great boxing action in the years to come. First big boxing card ever here tonight. Canelo Alvarez against Amir Khan.
Good body shot by Gomez.
He seems to think body first in his attack, Roy.
And that's a good thing, Jim. Like you said, Herrera is really tired because he hasn't been active, but Gomez, knowing this, is constantly attacking the body because he knows that once you get a guy fatigued from the body shots, he can't really bounce back from that.
I'd like to see Gomez throw that Jesse Vargas right hand where he dips down, that Vargas has had success with against Tim Bradley at the end of their fight and Saddam Ali in their last fight, where he dips down and the opponent thinks he's going low and going to the body and come over the top with that looping right hand. I think Herrera's open for it.
I don't think Gomez is interested in trying to knock Herrera out right now because he knows what he's up against. He knows he's way ahead. There it was, though. But he knows he's way ahead. All he needs to do is box and continue to go and just be happy with his performance and get out of it.
If you look at CompuBox numbers, as I am doing right here on a monitor in front of me, Gomez has landed more than twice as many power punches as Herrera. He's thrown more than twice as many power punches as Herrera. And now Herrera has one of his better rallies of the fight to get Gomez off of him and back into the center of the ring.
Missed 3 punches and kind of hit him with a jab at the end. Gomez was showing off a little upper body movement, head movement just then. I think, Roy, that you're right. Gomez knows he has the fight won. Herrera's a very tough cookie, and there's no reason in forcing the matter right now and making mistakes just because he's trying to get a knockout that he's unlikely to get.
That's exactly right, because if you're going to campaign as a 40 or 47 pounder, you want to look at this guy and say, hey, I did better with this guy than Ruslan Provodnikov or Danny Garcia. So that makes you look really, really profitable in the future for some guys at 140.
Herrera is the kind of puncher for whom Gomez would have to make a tremendous mistake in order for Herrera to hurt him in such a way that he could turn the fight around. It's not just that Herrera would have to do something good. Gomez would have to do something very bad at the same moment that Herrera was doing something good. This Wednesday, the Fight Game returns. Join me along with Max Kellerman and Bernard Hopkins for an in-depth look back at tonight's fight. Plus, Melissa Stark reports on the move to eliminate headgear in select amateur boxing competitions, including this summer's Olympic Games, as many sports throughout the world of sports take various measures to try to limit concussions and CTE. Boxing does something which is both sudden and surprising, and Melissa will show it to you.
Mauricio, you gotta throw everything. We need everything. You can take this bastard. Let's go. 2 more rounds, Mauricio. Okay? But you gotta close up your guard. You gotta attack him like you wanted. Come on. You can do it.
Frankie Gomez, his face perfectly clean and unmarked. Looks as though he's halfway through an energetic sparring session at the wild card. And Mauricio Herrera looks beat up as they come out for the 9th of the scheduled 10, and you can see Harold Letterman's unofficial scorecard reads like an open book. One, two, three, four.
Good left hand out of the southpaw stance. Gomez showing some good moves here, Jim. Showing flashes of a very smart, intelligent guy. A guy who has been in the ring, has a lot of experience, as we know. And, he's showing that he can put those tricks that he's learned to use.
Puts himself in a southpaw stance and throws, in effect, his left jab. It becomes a straight left hand out of the southpaw stance.
And lands
a little bit of deception, but enough to shock Herrera.
Yes, and lands it clean.
Now, Gomez is obviously a very talented guy. The question with him was and is, will he always give himself the best chance to win? Will he always be the best version of himself?
Sometimes, Max, a guy like Gomez, what you need is you have to put him under pressure. When you put him under pressure, it makes him have to go out and perform the way he wants to perform, or do the things that you want him to do to prepare, because he knows he's having a hard time, or that it's going to be a chance he could be beat. Like tonight, this is the best we've probably seen him look in a while, but he knew that if you don't come correctly, Herrera can upset you. So maybe this is what Frankie Gomez needs.
If you can get him into the ring in good shape, properly trained, mentally prepared for the fight, there aren't many questions about Frankie Gomez. The questions have to do with, will he keep his life in order long enough to get to the prize fight in the right condition? Will he make weight? Will he avoid any difficulty with the law or any administrative problems in his life which keep him out of training for a while? Those are the things that they still worry about at Golden Boy and the Wild Card.
But like I'm trying to tell you, if you put names on the other end of that contract, like Provodnikov, Matisse, Herrera, then he has to behave and worry about the problems that lay ahead of him in the ring, more so than the ones that he makes for himself outside of the ring.
So step up the competition.
That's exactly right.
Challenge him.
That's exactly right. If I had a guy like that, I'd make it so hard for him that he'd be scared to stay out too late at night and not get his rest, because he knows who he's fighting is going to kill him if he's not ready when he comes to the ring.
Most likely Freddie Roach says exactly that to Oscar De La Hoya.
Workout.
Another hard body shot with the right hand by Gomez. So often we see guys focusing on the liver shot. Gomez is just as devoted to firing to the other side of the body.
Okay. Good job. Okay, last round. Okay. Now, Frankie.
10th and final round. Touch him up middle of the ring. Good job.
All right. Let's put a show on this round, okay? I want a lot of combinations. All right. Hard punching, body and head, okay? All right. All right. Remember.
Okay, well, let's go. Let's put it all in. Let's go. We got to put it all in. All you desire. You can do it. Let's do it, Mauricio. Let's go, Mauricio. With the straight, with the jab, with the quick jab, and cut the ring off. Come on. Come on, we got to go with everything. All in, Mauricio.
Well, it's nice that Mauricio Herrera's trainer, I should say, Jose Torres, is still cheerleading, trying to pump his man up, and telling him he can do it. But the one thing he most needs to do, which would be to knock Frankie Gomez out at this point, is something most likely he can't do.
One time Freddie Roach, you heard him tell Frankie Gomez to put on a show. It's the last round.
Mauricio Herrera has never had a knockout past the fourth round.
And it's funny because that timing thing is so prevalent here. You see, anytime he gets ready to throw a punch, Gomez attacks him and makes him get unset to punch. So now he has to defend himself instead of, in the normal times, he probably would be punching, trying to deliver that knockout. But when your rhythm is off like that, it's easy for a guy to offset you and make you do things that you don't want to do at the time that you plan to attack.
Yeah, Gomez has been mentally quicker than Herrera throughout this fight, so he dictates what happens.
Just correcting a small statistic, Herrera's never had a knockout past the sixth round. Frankie Gomez putting on an impressive show after all the difficulties he's experienced within the past couple of years. Failing to make weight 2 separate times in 2015. One of them a very high-profile assignment against Humberto Soto in Houston the week after Mayweather versus Pacquiao on the undercard of the fight between Canelo Alvarez and James Kirkland. Everyone associated with Golden Boy and Gomez was extremely disappointed with that. Later in the year, the same kind of thing. So to get it all together and fight this way against Herrera is an extremely impressive show for Frankie Gomez.
One of the reasons that his promoter and television network, etc., puts up with it is because there's a belief that it's worth it, that he's a quality fighter. And I think the hope is that he can get it together because of, you see this performance, you can imagine the kind of fighter he can become.
That's exactly right. You see exactly what he's doing with a guy that most guys can't even deal with. He's handling this guy with ease, so it shows you the potential that he has if we just can get him to the ring in shape and on point. And like I said to Jim earlier, I think that we do that by giving him opponents that are going to threaten him. He has to be right.
That does suggest, though, that he's not internally motivated, as some of the all-time greats have been, that he's externally motivated. He needs that challenge in a way that some elite fighters who show up every time don't need that challenge.
Yeah, some guys have different upbringings, some guys have different issues, and certain things cause them to focus on other things. Make him focus on boxing by using the selection of opponents to make him focus. Like they used to tell me, it's more than one way to skin a cat.
In the 10th round, Gomez is skinning the cat with movement.
Oh, good shot.
And occasional flurries here and there.
Ran him into a good right hand right there.
Herrera's a tough guy.
Yeah, he is.
If Mauricio Herrera had real power, that right hand might have meant something. Herrera was cut as early as the second round under the left eye. Wound up with damage under the right eye as well. And Frankie Gomez getting low when he wanted to, landing body shots when he wanted to, coming upstairs with both hands. Very clearly won this fight against Mauricio Herrera. Harold, go ahead and tell us the details of your scorecard.
Okay, Jim, I got a 10-0, 100-90 Frankie Gomez. Jim, all night long he landed the harder, cleaner shots. Did a lot more damage in each and every round. Mauricio Herrera cut under both eyes, was certainly badly bruised under both eyes. Gomez just carried this fight. I never saw Herrera outside of that right hand in the 10th round. He really never landed a good, solid power shot. It was all Gomez, and I think he deserved this fight. I'd like to see Frankie Gomez with a better welterweight, Jim. I mean, you can think of names like Robert Guerrero and Andre Berto, maybe Timothy Bradley, maybe Brandon Rios. There's a lot of good welterweights out there that aren't world champions that would be a dynamite opponent.
You think some of those guys are better than Herrera? I'm not so sure. I think Herrera's on that level.
I think it would be a step up for Frankie Gomez to fight an Andre Berto, for example.
Well, let's make the point, however, that he wants to fight in the 140-pound division.
Yeah.
He wants to fight junior welterweights where his height fits in a little better. Let's go to Joe Martinez with the official scores.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards, and all three have it 100-90. Your winner by unanimous decision and still undefeated, Frankie Pitbull Gomez.
Final CompuBox numbers going to show you that Frankie Gomez landed 77 more punches, threw 65 more punches, landed at a significantly higher connect percentage. Power shots. And we told you through the fight that Gomez was landing twice as many. He winds up with 6 more than twice as many. He throws nearly 200 more and lands at a very good connect percentage of 42%. It's Cinco de Mayo weekend, traditionally a big weekend for boxing in Las Vegas. Still to come, David Lemieux, who comported himself well but lost to Gennady Golovkin back in October, faces New Jersey's Glen Tapia. And then our main event, Canelo Alvarez against Amir Khan. It appears to be a classic matchup of power versus speed, but as we know in boxing, things don't always work out as planned or designed. We'll see what happens about an hour from now. Before we get back to boxing, here's a word from our sponsor.
This is the Black Eagle. This is a champion. This just isn't right. This is all he needs. Flavor that can't be tamed. Tecate Light, born bold.
In taking a closer look at our main event fighters, you can see how active both Canelo Alvarez and Amir Khan have been the past few years. Both men eagerly seeking top competition, as their recent ring records note. Max, take it away.
Well, here you see the ring record of Canelo Alvarez. You're going to see it in chronological order, left to right. Beat a faded Shane Mosley, an undersized Josecito Lopez, a legitimate Austin Trout, but that was a close, tough fight. Trout had easily beaten Cotto at that time and was a top junior middleweight, and of course, he basically got shut out by Floyd Mayweather. Look, who doesn't basically get outshot by Floyd Mayweather? Shut out by him. Angulo was faded. Lara in his prime, and that was also like the Trout fight. Tough fight. Lara's movement bothered Canelo, but Canelo won a tough-fought decision. James Kirkland tailor-made straight at Canelo, and he didn't have Ann Wolfe in his corner that night. Not the same James Kirkland without Ann Wolfe. And then probably Canelo's signature win against Miguel Cotto for what some consider the lineal middleweight championship of the world.
And we'll take a look at the same thing, the last 8 fights for Amir Khan. Max?
Amir Khan, like Canelo, real good opposition. Zab Judah, he beat easily. Lamont Peterson, he lost to close. Some home cooking for Lamont Peterson. Khan had some points deducted that seemed dubious at the time. Danny Garcia, Khan was having his way with him, got caught with a left hook, and that was basically all she wrote, was stopped. Molina, nice win against Molina, stopped him in 10 rounds. These are all quality fighters. Diaz, it was a nice win. Collazo, a bigger fighter naturally. Devin Alexander, if you still consider Alexander his old self, that may be Khan's best win in recent years. And Chris Algieri, not a big puncher, seemed to be able to bother Amir Khan with his power, for what it's worth.
We saw Canelo's last 8 fights in chronological order, and then we saw Amir's last 8 fights in chronological order. And now we get ready for the final preliminary bout of the evening in the middleweight division. Once again, David Lemieux against Glen Tapia. Tapia, you have previously seen fighting at 154. Lemieux has been a career middleweight. You see the 1-year age difference in favor of the New Jersey fighter. Glen is from Passaic. David Lemieux, of course, is from the boxing hotbed of Montreal. A 2-inch height advantage for Glen Tapia. An arm length advantage of a ½ an inch measured from the armpit to the end of the fist for the big punching David Lemieux. They weighed in within a ½ pound of the 160-pound limit, or right at it in Lemieux's case. And the big news here is that David Lemieux, a career middleweight, rehydrates up to 175 pounds overnight and will appear to have a functional 9-pound weight advantage entering the ring, as our unofficial HBO scale finds Glen Tapia at 166.
Way to the ring, fighting out of the blue corner in this middleweight co-featured bout of the evening. From New Jersey, here is Glen Tapia.
22, and he's not shook. He is not shook. There's no scared in Glen Tapia. He's a warrior.
And his opponent tonight, fighting out of the red corner, from Canada, David Lemieux.
David Lemieux had 3 losses, and 2 of those were by knockout. He got knocked out by Marco Antonio Rubio after he seemed to run out of gas in a fight that he was controlling early on. And then, of course, last October, he went to New York City and fought Gennady Golovkin and wound up in the 8th round suffering the same fate as the last 22 Golovkin opponents.
Of course, but you can't really count that against him, because that is the best middleweight pound for pound right now anyway. So a knockout defeat against the best pound for pound middleweight champion is not necessarily a bad knockout.
Indeed, and this is the first time we'll mention this all night. The winner of tonight's main event between Canelo Alvarez and Amir Khan is mandated by the governing body that controls Canelo's belt to fight Gennady Golovkin next. There's some question as to whether it's actually going to happen, but the governing body is planning to strip the guy who wins tonight's fight if he does not, in fact, agree to fight Golovkin next. And now let's go for Tapia versus Lemieux to ring announcer Joe Martinez.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, from T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada, it is time for our co-main event of the evening. 10 rounds of boxing for the vacant NABO Middleweight Championship. Presented by Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions in association with Eye of the Tiger Management. Sponsored by Cerveza Tecate Born Bold, O'Reilly Auto Parts, Casa Mexico Tequila, Doom, out May 13th, and Hands of Stone, the true story of Roberto Duran, starring Edgar Ramirez, Robert De Niro, and Usher Raymond in theaters everywhere this August. The NABO supervisor for this bout, Richard DeCure. The 3 judges scoring at ringside, Patricia Morse-Jarman, John McKay, and Dave Moretti. And when the action begins inside the ring, your referee, Russell Mora. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white with blue, he weighed officially 159.5 pounds. His professional record in 25 bouts, 23 victories, just 2 defeats with 15 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of and representing Passaic, New Jersey, here is Glen, Jersey Boy Tapia. And next his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black with gold, he weighed in officially 160 pounds even. His professional record in 37 bouts, 34 victories, including 31 knockouts, 3 defeats. Fighting out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, here's the former IBF World Champion, David Lemieux.
Okay, gentlemen, trunks here are good, trunks here are good. We went over the rules in the dressing room. I want to remind you, protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands. God bless. Touch up.
David Lemieux says boxing is a show, and he wants to take risks to please the fans, to put on the best show he can. Glen Tapia says when he hears the crowd, he connects with them, and then he gets excited and he gets out of his game plan.
You want to grab your belt,
but
Richard?
Glen Tapia has yet to be in a fight that wasn't a show, and so I think you can expect a show here.
What Freddie Roach and manager Pat Lynch are hoping for tonight is that Glen Tapia understands that this is a chance for him to outbox another fighter with a big name. Outbox is the key word. They don't want him trying to match David Lemieux power for power in a slugging war, because that is not, in their view, a good equation for him.
When he started out right there, standing kind of right there in front of David, he got caught with 2 punches, then he immediately started moving backwards as to start some circular movement, which is best for him. You can't fight David Lemieux head on. David Lemieux is a very powerful guy. Unless you're Triple G, not many people are going to overpower him. You got to out-finesse him.
Yeah, and he has quick hands, Lemieux. You know, it's explosive power, but he has quicks, and that's not just like a plodding kind of puncher. You got to be on your toes the whole fight.
Most observers expected Lemieux versus Galata to be an all-out power show, bomb versus bomb, And Gennady Golovkin came out and confounded those predictions in the first round by throwing nearly 50 jabs, making clear it would be a technical boxing match, and basically laying waste to Lemieux from that point forward with a brilliant plan.
And what you have to admire about that is that even Gennady was smart enough to give a guy the opposite of what the guy really wants. If the guy wants a war, although I'm a better warrior than you, I'm still going to box you because I know you don't want to box, you want to fight.
Tapia's job is to try to emulate what Gennady did. He has not been able to do it so far.
No, but
letting Lemieux land too many big punches.
Yeah, I think Lemieux might have hurt him with one of those big punches just then, or left hook.
What Lemieux's able to do so far against everyone but Triple G in the last several years is impose his superior athletic ability, and he's doing it again here.
Well, Tapia being smart, he's not getting into that fight game with Lemieux, so that may be smart for him if he can survive this early onslaught. If not, that's what I'm saying. If not, it may be best for him to go ahead and start trying to fight back. Or at least make Lemieux respect him. Right now, he hasn't hit Lemieux with nothing to make Lemieux respect his power.
Lemieux showed in the Gabe Rosado fight before the Golovkin fight that
just landed a big uppercut. Go Max.
Yeah, that he was more than just a front runner, as he had looked earlier in his career, where when his athletic quality, his hand speed and punching power wouldn't carry the day, he would fade. He showed that he had the stick-to-itiveness to prevail even against a tough veteran like Rosado. And so if Tapia's thought is that you weather this storm and then somehow Lemieux fades, I'm not so sure that's true.
Well, you can't let Lemieux keep breaking him with that big left hook like Jim said earlier. You got to do something to slow Lemieux down.
Now Tapia begins to get into a little rhythm. The jab would be the key to doing well here. Manages to block a body shot with his right elbow.
Watch your heads, watch your heads.
He's fighting a little bit safer in the latter part of the round. It didn't look good early for Glen Tapia, but he makes it out of round one.
Respire comme il faut 2 fois. Dave, je veux juste que tu t'assures de t'approcher un petit peu plus. Tu lances un petit peu les coups de poing de loin. Tu as fait un bon round, mais il manque un demi-pouce, OK? Avec le jab, approche-toi un petit peu plus que ça.
Dave.
On commence les attaques au corps, on termine à la tête.
Dave,
la seule chose qui protège pour le moment, là, c'est ça ici. Il est vraiment inquiet pour la bombe au menton. Ça fait que commence les attaques.
Dave, do.
Commence les attaques au corps.
Dave, you do it very well.
La bombe en haut, OK? Même chose, ton spécial Lemieux.
Here you see Lemieux land a beautiful left hook right on the chin of Tapia. You can ask for a better placed left hook, and I think that one may have gotten Tapia's attention. You see him take off and start bouncing right there. That usually means a guy may have been hurt. And then you follow that with a beautiful left uppercut where you're starting to block the body shot, and he caught you with the uppercut because he has you confused as to where the left hand is going to land at now. That was good work by David Lemieux.
And Lemieux had a good round. And now Glen Tapia comes back out to see if he can change the fight a little bit more in round two. The last 30 seconds of round one looked much better for him than what came before. There are some body shots for Tapia. Now he lands a right hand upstairs.
I think about a good half dozen right hands to the body and 1 or 2 to the head so far from Tapia that got Lemieux's attention.
Yes. And now he's using that jab that he saw Triple G use on him.
That first right hand to the body right under the heart of Lemieux seemed to send a message.
It did. It showed him that he has a little power and that you have to respect Tapia. Oh, Tapia just landed 2 good straight right hands there, Max.
Tapia is gaining confidence here in round 2.
He went to Freddie Roach and asked him what Roach thought, and Tapia said he's seen Roach retire fighters in the gym, and fighters cry when Freddie told them, look, your career is over. So he didn't know what to expect from Freddie, and Freddie told him, I've been telling you, you're not a junior middleweight, you're a middleweight, you have real talent, you should continue your career.
Well, this will be the proof of the pudding, because you can't ask for a much rougher middleweight baptism than to go to work against David Lemieux.
His legs look unsteady again, Jim. Right there, I didn't like how his legs looked. I don't know if he got caught with something or not, but his legs didn't look very stable right there.
Oh, there's a hard left hook by Lemieux.
Yeah, his legs are not stable right now.
And Tapia's legs look bad. There's a straight right hand. And if this continues for the next 30 seconds, you might see Tapia go down because he is not steady.
No, but he better hit Lemieux with something big right now, or he's going to have problems because he's not steady at all.
Lemieux's hand speed makes him so dangerous in exchanges, and that may be why Tapia is keeping his hands at home.
Well-placed body shot by Lemieux hurt Tapia badly. Another body shot might be enough to put him down. Lemieux swinging away upstairs. That's giving Tapia a little bit of a chance.
Oh.
These are some huge shots Lemieux is landing.
And Tapia's shots don't have anything on him right now because he's landing too shortly. He's not getting extension on his shots.
Glen Tapia has never been knocked down. In both of his knockout losses, he stayed on his feet. And by the way, he might have helped himself by taking a knee, particularly against Kirkland.
Yeah, he claimed he tried to take the knee, but he fell into a Kirkland uppercut. It ain't that hard to take a knee. There's just no knee-taking in Glen Tapia's game. He's too tough for his own good.
No. That was two good body shots by Tapia. That slowed the attack from Lemieux down a little bit. Now that jab is slowing him down.
He survived the assault in the sense that he stayed on his feet, but this was another good round for David Lemieux, although it started well for Glen Tapia, so the idea is there. He seems to know what he's supposed to do. The trouble is he keeps getting hit by big shots.
He doesn't know where to place his left foot. He walked back to the corner, I thought, on unsteady legs.
Son, you're giving him too much momentum, okay? Yeah. All right, but now here.
Push him back?
No, the thing is just keep kneeing him with the jab, okay? And the 1-2, okay? But the thing is, you can't lay it out there. You can't lay it out there lazy, okay? You need to use your sharp, quick jab, okay? Come on, settle down a little bit and get that quick jab going. All right?
Here we see Tapia go in and throw that body shot, and Lemieux punches it between the two body shots, lands a beautiful left hook right on the chin, and that really hurt Tapia bad. You see his balance go off, and he falls backwards. That means he's hurt badly by that punch.
And he was stiff-legged for a long period of time after that. So you heard Freddie Roach say, Glenn, you are giving him too much momentum, and you've got to throw a stiff jab. You can't just lay it out there. It takes a commitment to go in and fight aggressively against a guy who is hurting you with big shots.
Who has the kind of hand speed and power Lemieux has. And then, do you see how short that left hook was? I mean, whipped it right around so short and to the point.
Like that right there.
There's another uppercut that lands.
Let me tell you, Lemieux is doing some good work with that left hand. I'm not used to seeing him throw that big a variety of punches with that left hand. He's throwing left hook to the head, left body shot, left uppercut. I mean, this is amazing by Lemieux.
Yeah, when you think about how Lemieux looked against Ndam and Rosado and now Glen Tapia, you can say it's coming against a certain level of opponent, but it speaks to Gennady Golovkin's quality that he just won every moment of the fight against this guy, because Lemieux is not just an ordinary contender. He's something a little extra.
Yeah, and don't count Tapia out yet now, because Tapia still can land a big one. He's just not putting his body into his punches right now. Something seems to be off about him.
In fact, so far, what Lemieux has done is to offer a fairly eloquent answer to something Canelo Alvarez has said 2 or 3 times this week about who has Golovkin fought? Where was the quality opponent? Why does he deserve a fight against me with the guys that he's been fighting? He fought David Lemieux.
Yeah, and Martin Murray. I mean, he's fought some solid fighters. And maybe Lemieux, you could argue, is the best of them or the most talented of them.
He fought the best that they've given him.
I think what's wrong with Tapia so far, Roy, is that Lemieux left hook. I think it altered the fight early in the first round, and Tapia never quite got his legs back fully.
But that was a good right hand by Tapia, and those are the shots that I'm saying that Tapia could change things around with.
Right.
Like that.
And there's a good little rally for Glen Tapia. He lands a right hand again.
He got blocked.
And there's a good straight left hand that stops a Lemieux onrush.
Yeah, Lemieux blocked that second right hand. Lucky for him.
Well, to talk about no quitting the guy, that Kirkland fight became dangerous at the end, and there was still no quitting Glen Tapia.
Well, it's no quitting neither one of these guys, because don't get it twisted. Triple G was putting a hurting on Lemieux, and he never quit either.
This is starting to become a pretty good fight now.
Yes,
as Glen Tapia gets his feet under him here in the 3rd round and begins to land some of the shots that he wants to land. He still has to try to find a way to stop David Lemieux's left hook, which lands again right there. Interesting, because early in his career, Lemieux was sort of typecast as a right-hand puncher. But over the years since that time, the left hook has become more and more and more his primary weapon.
And he's really landing some big ones here.
now as Glen Tapia is going to make it out of the third round as well in a fight that begins to get better. Let's take a look at Kenny Bayless offering referee's instructions to Canelo Alvarez.
Now, in the event that you knock your opponent to the ground and that you hit him while he's down, that could be 2-point deduction, or the severity of that punch can be a disqualification. Okay? Lastly, at the end of the round, the bell sounds, and your opponent throws the punch after the bell, and you slip it, and you tally and hit him, same thing apply. Same thing apply. 2-point deduction or disqualification. I will be there at all times. I ask that you listen and obey my commands at all times. Are there any questions?
I'm a clean boxer, you know.
Then that's what it is. Okay, good luck.
More Spanish from a Las Vegas referee. As Canelo Alvarez got a huge win here in Las Vegas in November against Miguel Cotto, tries to follow it up with another one here tonight in the main event of the evening. Canelo Alvarez against Amir Khan. Harold Letterman, how do you have the first 3 rounds of this fight?
Okay, Jim, I get a 3-0, 30-27 in favor of the French Rocky Graziano, David Lemieux. you know, Jim, the guy just keeps coming. That left hook to the body, and he brings the left hook upstairs. He just does an awful lot more damage. Glen had a nice third round. He fought back a little. He showed he could take the punches. You know, he punched back a little, but he's got to do something to stop Lemieux. That's for darn sure. 3-0, David Lemieux.
Down goes Glen Tapia for the very first time in his career on a looping right hand by Lemieux after another hard left hook.
Lemieux is some puncher, Jim.
They're going to stop the fight.
Taking too much punishment, Jim.
Glen Tapia's assistant trainer, Alex Tapia, the man who was his trainer earlier in a career before he went to Freddie Roach, stepped up onto the canvas and stopped the fight.
And Tapia was far from being finished or far from quitting, but he had won no rounds. He had taken a lot of clean shots. And even if somehow he wins that fight because Lemieux fades or he comes up with something special as the rounds go on, I understand his corner taking care of him there.
I particularly understand Alex Tapia doing it because Tapia caught so much flack for allowing him to stay in the fight against James Kirkland in Atlantic City 2 years ago. Let's take another look.
Right here we see Lemieux on the attack. We did like his legs from the beginning, from that left hook. There's that left hook right there, followed by overhand right that didn't really land, but the hook had done the damage already.
And I'll tell you what, if you've never seen your guy go down, and he's taken a beating and then goes down.
There comes over the top. He just, the hook knocked him off balance, Jim. Took both of his legs right out from under him. You had to stop that. I agree with the trainer.
Well, I kind of imagine Glen Tapia doesn't agree with the trainer, but... And here, watch on the left-hand side of your screen. In the lower left-hand corner, you'll see Tapia stepping up onto the canvas. He's the guy in the blue sweatsuit who said, no, no more.
And Tapia wanted to go, but...
Tapia was the trainer who started Glen Tapia off in the amateurs, remained his trainer well into his professional career. Caught a lot of flack, as I mentioned, for allowing Tapia to take the punishment that he took against James Kirkland 2 years ago and decided that he wasn't going to let it happen tonight.
He did the right thing.
Not easy.
Nope, not at all.
Not easy at all. So Glen Tapia has been knocked out again, knocked down for the first time, and David Lemieux reestablishes what we already knew, that he's one of the hardest punchers in the middleweight division and one of the hardest punchers pound for pound in boxing. Let's go to Joe Martinez with the particulars on the knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, the in comes of the official time. 56 seconds, round number 4. At the request of the blue corner, referee Russell Mora puts a halt to this bout. Your winner by TKO victory, and now the new NABO middleweight champion, David Lemieux.
Final CompuBox numbers in a fight thoroughly dominated by David Lemieux. He lands 35 more punches than Tapia. He throws 65 more punches than Tapia. 75 more punches than Tapia, and lands at a higher percentage. Lands 41 more power shots than Tapia, throws 73 more power shots, and lands at the magic number 50%. When a guy lands 50% of his power punches, he's almost never going to lose. We've only seen it a couple of times. And now Max Kellerman stands by with David Lemieux.
Congratulations, David, on a sensational stoppage of a guy who's never been dropped before. You dropped him and stopped him. What was the game plan?
You know, hats off to Glen Tapia. He's a very, very solid fighter. A lot of respect for him. We trained very, very hard for this fight. You know, we wanted to come in, box him, you know, start landing the shots slowly. And we saw some openings, and I took them. You know, a very good fighter. Had to be on top of my game.
Earlier in your career, you ran out of gas a couple times. Then you showed against Gabe Rosado you weren't a front runner. And now tonight you did that to Glen Tapia. Do you feel that you still have things to prove when you get in here?
It's just the beginning, for sure. I'm young in the game, and I got a lot of great accomplishments to accomplish. This is just the beginning.
And speaking of young in the game, Gennady Golovkin, the Triple G fight, you went to school on his jab. I mean, he won all the rounds by boxing you. Did you learn anything from that fight that you took into this fight?
Yeah, definitely. You know, Triple G's a great fighter. Even when he knocks you down, you still got to protect yourself. You might get a shot, but keep your hands up at all times is the rule of boxing. No, we learned a lot from that fight, you know, and we've been accomplishing the best I can do for this fight and the upcoming fights.
And what fight would you like upcoming?
The top guys, of course. You know, the main event seems really good. The winner of that, I'm up for the best fighters out there.
Congratulations, David. Excellent performance.
Thank you very much.
Glen, obviously very disappointed, particularly it seemed at the moment of the stoppage. What are your thoughts?
I was mad. I wanted to at least, if he would have given me like one more round, try to fucking knock him out at least, you know. But I felt like I was losing every round. I just couldn't. I felt slow. You know, I just couldn't get off.
So you say try to knock him out. In other words, you were trying to stick to a boxing game plan, but had you known that you were that close to the end, you would have scrapped that and at least gone for broke.
Yeah, because I felt like I was like trying to save my energy. I couldn't get off, and I felt real tired.
How much of that is his speed? He looked very quick in there.
He was quick, but I've seen guys like that before, you know, so I understand his quickness, but I just felt like really slow and like lazy.
All right, now this is something I hate to do, but you know, you've never been dropped before. We have the replay. I'm going to show it to you if you don't mind. You've never been dropped before. How was he able to do it?
Congratulations, David, I guess. I don't know.
What do you see?
Throwing wide. I was throwing a right hook. He caught me with a good hook. He was throwing the right wide on my left hook. I left my right hand down.
He seemed to cuff you with the right hand that brought you down. How badly were you hurt when you were on the canvas?
No, I wasn't even that hurt, but it was like more of a flash knockdown. But damn, man.
Here's the stoppage. We see your disappointment in this shot. You think you're getting ready to fight again. Take us through it.
I'm kind of mad at Freddie a little bit, you know, but he said I just wanted, like, if he would have told me Glen, like right now, I would have went all the balls out, you know.
In other words, it's okay to get knocked out, as at least you have the shot to win the fight.
Yes. I thought I had a little bit more time. I thought I fucked up.
Glen, thanks for talking to us. We know you're very disappointed, and it's always fun to see you fight. Jim?
Thank you, God.
Our undercard bouts are complete, and Canelo Alvarez versus Amir is next. Only 3 months ago, who would have thought these two would be meeting at all? This matchup wasn't on any fight fans' radar, but it was announced to universal acclaim. Two top boxers risking it all just moments from now. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Rated M for mature.
trained more world champs than anyone else in boxing history. Roberto Duran, he was no coward. I know how he began in life, what he willed himself to become.
Is that a real fighter? Duran should fight no one but me.
You're Roberto Duran. Get in there and act like him.
Are we going to be champions?
Hands of Stone, in theaters everywhere, August 26th.
And we're back at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, where now we are in preparation for the main event, as the early knockout in David Lemieux versus Glen Tapia leaves us now with a period of time to fill before we get ready for the main event. So, Roy Jones, let's begin our discussion of Amir Khan versus Canelo Alvarez with the subject that is most unusual and which most people have focused on leading up to the bout, which is that Amir Khan has never fought above the welterweight level before. He now moves up 8 pounds from 147, his previous maximum, to Canelo Alvarez's preferred catchweight of 155 pounds. Exactly what effect can we expect on Amir Khan as the result of that weight gain?
Well, the only effect that we can expect is he'll still be faster, he'll still be sharper, he'll still have his punching power. How will his punching power affect Canelo, we don't know. The thing we want to see, though, is how will his ability to take a punch carry up 8 pounds north? Will he be able to take a punch better, or will he not be able to take the punch, the big punch, like he had trouble with as a welterweight and as a junior welterweight? So the biggest questions that are asked of Amir Khan is, how well does he adapt to the punch at 155 pounds?
How much of it in the past was a bad chin and how much was bad judgment? For instance, he was beating Danny Garcia early, and then he got into a trading festival with Garcia and got caught with a punch that under normal circumstances he wouldn't get hit with. Is it really a bad chin?
Yes, a bad chin, because we also saw him get caught by Brady Prescott, who we didn't even know, just caught with a big punch. So that's showing you that he was somewhat chinny. Then when you get caught by Danny Garcia, it was a fight that you chose to fight wrong, but still one shot and it did it. That still make you somewhat chinny.
All right, let's turn to Max Kellerman. What was the idea of this matchup, Max?
Well, find the biggest name you could find to make a Cinco de Mayo weekend extravaganza on pay-per-view that represented the lowest risk to Canelo Alvarez and maybe get him a knockout in the bargain. Boxing has a long history of this. When a fighter with great commercial appeal and the suspicion that maybe that outstrips his ability, at least as a puncher, is on the scene, frequently he is matched with smaller fighters to make him look like a bigger puncher than he actually is. Now, Canelo Alvarez has gotten better with every fight. It's obvious he's a terrific fighter. But I was talking to Julio Cesar Chavez earlier in the week, and I think the feeling is certainly among Mexican fight fans that Canelo, as the bigger fighter here against the guy who is chinny, as Roy Jones said, is supposed to get a knockout.
All right, let's turn our attention to Amir Khan in his 2 losses in primetime fights. We're going to take a look now at highlights, and Roy, you join us on this. We'll take a look at highlights of what happened between Khan and Lamont Peterson in Washington, D.C. In a moment after this, we'll look at what happened with Danny Garcia. This is a fight that Khan seemed to be dominating with hand speed early on. He actually knocked Peterson down in the first round, and then ultimately it became more of an inside battle, a fight along the ropes, and that's when Peterson seemed to take command.
Yeah, it seems like he runs out of gas somewhat late in these fights, and when he runs out of gas, he definitely doesn't take the best punch. That's how I know most of it has to deal with being chinny as opposed to making the wrong decisions. He shouldn't have decided to stand there and fight with Peterson like that, no. But at the same time, you can't be hurt by guys because you're standing there fighting.
Was Khan deficient in fighting on the inside in this fight, Max Kellerman?
Well, this is the thing about Amir Khan. It's one of the reasons he's such a likable fighter, because for a guy who looks like he has all the attributes to keep the fight at a distance, he has a real fighting heart. But a fighting heart is one thing. The ability to absorb punches well is something else. And when you don't have those two things aligned, it can be a bad combination.
And this is a very close fight, which Khan lost by decision, and 2 points were taken away from him for pushing. An unusual, but in fact, it's in the rules, penalty, and referee Joe Cooper was within his rights in taking those 2 points away, and ultimately that helped to create the difference in the fight, won by Lamont Peterson. So that was the first of his
primetime losses. And then, of course, later he fought Danny Garcia. Now, these fights took place at a 140-pound weight level, and Amir Khan at 140 pounds was blindingly fast, Max.
He was, and he was having his way early. Danny Garcia's best chance was to catch Amir in an exchange, and that's exactly what he did. He caught Amir in an exchange, and once again, Amir's chin failed him, but his heart didn't. He got up and kept fighting.
And that's a great point, Roy Jones. You can't argue with his heart. As bad as the chin may be, he does indeed keep trying, keep fighting when he's hurt.
Yeah, he's definitely going to keep trying. He's going to fight to the end, and that's the only reason I give him a chance whatsoever in this fight tonight. Because if he can't, or if he can get away with not being caught with a big punch, he will survive and he will fight to the end.
Yeah, the difference is Amir Khan needs to be perfect or near perfect. Canelo, because of the size, doesn't.
So Amir Khan won't like this section of the telecast as we look back at what amounted to his Waterloo, the losses to both Lamont Peterson and Danny Garcia. Shortly after this, he changed trainers, went to work with Virgil Hunter. There have been some rough patches there, too. And the expectation was that Hunter, a defensively oriented trainer, would help him to protect himself better in the ring. Maybe that has, in fact, happened. He has moved up to welterweight during this most recent period of time. He's won 5 straight fights under Virgil Hunter, but in none of them did he look truly spectacular, other than in the destruction, Max, of Devin Alexander, which was certainly his most impressive performance in recent years.
I mean, that's what we're doing here right now. The reason Amir Khan even takes a fight like this is because his self-view is that he's a star, that he's a guy who should be the A side of a pay-per-view. And so far in his career, he hasn't been put in with another star of that caliber so he could prove it. He views himself that way. He's not afraid. Even when he was the money man at 140 pounds, he was willing to fight anybody there. It's the kind of mentality he has, and that's what's led him to this moment.
Indeed, the A side on the pay-per-view here tonight is Canelo Alvarez, who at this moment is seen as the lineal middleweight champion of the world. He took that title away from Miguel Cotto. Miguel Cotto is not a true middleweight. Canelo Alvarez, by his own admission, is not a true middleweight. The guy from whom Cotto took the title was a great 154-pound fighter, Sergio Martinez, who had won the middleweight championship from a true 160-pounder, Kelly Pavlik, and held on to it for a few years, even as an undersized fighter. But when Martinez wore down and got hurt and had a bad knee, Cotto saw an opportunity to cherry-pick a middleweight championship against a by-now compromised fighter, and he got it, and therefore the middleweight championship fell into a run there where 3 consecutive fighters who were probably better at 154 pounds than at 160 have held the championship. There is a 160-pound fighter who wants it. He has 2 middleweight belts. He is the mandatory challenger for the winner of tonight's main event. And he's standing to my left right now, and that is Gennady Golovkin. Gennady, welcome to the telecast. I'm sure that you're the most interested spectator in the arena tonight as you get ready to watch Canelo Alvarez against Amir Khan. Khan has said openly that if he wins the fight, he plans to fight Gennady Golovkin next. Canelo doesn't seem to be quite so sure. How confident are you? How good do you feel about the chance that you will fight the winner of tonight's fight?
Oh, I'm very excited who win, you know. For me, 100%, it doesn't matter who win, I need my belt, you know. And I respect Amir Khan. He's a huge fighter, you know. He has speed, he's very good moving. And Canelo, he's strong guy, he's big guy.
Is he as strong as you?
Strong probably to Khan.
If Canelo Alvarez enters the ring at a weight of about 172, and you enter the ring at a weight of about 172, then basically you're the same size. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. We're same size, same weight, you know, like 30 days to after waiting, and 1 week, just second day after waiting, you know. We're same.
So that's part of the argument here, is that they're basically the same size once they get through the process of rehydrating and going into the ring. But you want the fight at 160 pounds, and he wants the fight at 155 pounds. It seems to me that the only way to settle that argument is going to be yet another catchweight somewhere between 155 and 160. Are you open to that?
you know, I like old school. For me, middleweight 160. This 155 is new, you know. Oh, this is not respect to boxing. I love my sport. I love respect boxing.
Well, if you stick with that position and you say that you will only take this fight at 160 pounds, then the chances are much better that you're going to get that belt via the governing body stripping the winner of the fight and giving it to you than by actually winning it in the ring. Are you okay with taking that belt as the result of the governing body stripping another guy and handing it to you?
You know, first of all, just my goal is all the belts in the middleweight division. And second, everybody understand who is Canelo, who I am.
Let's ask one more question. The guy that you knocked out last October, David Lemieux, just put on a pretty good-looking performance against Glen Tapia. What did you think of Lemieux tonight?
He looks good. Congratulations. David, you know, he's a good fighter.
And does it make you feel that much better that you handled him the way you did?
Probably, yes.
And I understand that after this last fight, when you said, bring me my belt, fans are now walking up to you in the street and handing you their belts. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct. You know, a lot of people come and just take my belt, you know, because people understand who wins, just this is my belt.
You're going to wind up with a lot of belts. Thank you very much, Gennady. All right. Now let's go to one of the locker rooms as we are about 15 minutes away from the main event. There's a look at Canelo Alvarez as he is warming up in his dressing room. Canelo, of course, has been trained throughout his career by Eddie and Chepo Reynoso, a father-son team who have been with him ever since he turned professional at 15 years old. This is the most experienced 25-year-old prize fighter in the world, Canelo Alvarez. And here's a 4 years older fighter, Amir Khan, who has had quite a journey since winning an Olympic silver medal at only age 17 for Great Britain, and then remaining an amateur for a year to beat the great Cuban Mario Quindelón in what amounted to a rematch and becoming the world amateur champion at that time. A year ago, boxing needed a pick-me-up after the bad date that Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao engaged in here in Las Vegas. And 1 week later, Canelo Alvarez scored what I would see Roy Jones as his most impressive victory over James Kirkland.
Yes, his most impressive victory, Jim, because that was the most dangerous guy that we collectively thought we had seen him face. And by facing Kirkland, we knew he was going to face a warrior. The only thing that was missing was, like Max always mentions, was Ann Wolfe. And Ann Wolfe been there, I'm sure we'd have had a little bit different Kirkland, but I don't know if it would have made a difference to Canelo because Canelo came sharp and ready for battle that night.
It was an exciting matchup because of power against power. The difference was that Canelo, as he proved again later in the year against Miguel Cotto Max, has real craft.
Yeah, Canelo really is a counterpuncher. He's a boxer puncher, but he's a counterpuncher naturally. And although the optics are different, he reminds me of a kind of a James Toney. In the sense that what he really wants his opponent to do is go to him, so he can use his really good upper body movement to slip punches and counter crisply. What he doesn't like is to chase the guy around, and that's why there's a sense tonight that if Amir Khan, and we should know early in the fight, if he can handle the weight, this could turn out to be interesting, because the thought is Amir is going to do the opposite of what James Kirkland did, run to him. He's going to make Canelo try to find him.
You make a great point. Canelo is more comfortable as a counterpuncher. Amir Khan, with his hand speed, is a great counterpuncher, but he has made the mistake too often in his career of attacking stronger opponents. Is he going to attack Canelo Alvarez tonight?
Well, at some point he may have to. We have to see what the actual size difference is in the ring when they're standing. You know, Amir is not a tall, lanky guy for this weight division, although I don't know what weight division 155 pounds is exactly. But Khan's problem, I think, usually you want to see a guy throw 3 and 4 and 5 punch combinations. In this fight, Amir Khan has to limit those longer combinations, stay to the jab, 1-2s, occasionally 3 punches, you put a left hand behind it, but in exchanges is where he is at greatest peril. In exchanges, I think, is where he can get real damage done.
So, Roy, you hear Max's view of the dynamics of the fight. You're the fighter. You're the one who's been in the ring doing this. Do you think that Khan is going to wind up attacking Canelo Alvarez out of necessity?
Yes, I think he will. He will have to attack him to kind of slow Canelo's attack on him. However, no matter what he does, Jim, he has to survive for 12 rounds. We saw a fight with him against Matisse. I think it was not Matisse. Which one of the guys he fought?
Who are we talking about?
Matisse. Was it Matisse he fought?
Amir Khan didn't fight Lucas.
Maidana.
Marcos Maidana, yes.
Maidana.
Another Argentine.
Right, and against Maidana, he had a hard time sustaining himself for 12 rounds.
Right.
If he has a hard time sustaining himself tonight for 12 rounds, with the added weight, which we know will make it even harder to sustain yourself for 12 rounds, then he's going to be in trouble because you can't run out of gas against this bigger puncher.
He was in huge trouble against Maidana, but he knocked him down in the first round with a body shot. He won most of the rounds with his hand speed, and he wound up the winner in the fight because he survived Maidana's late fight power punch onslaught. Okay, that's the setup. Here are the stars again. Tonight's fight, absolutely vital for Canelo Alvarez. With the current retirements of Mayweather and Pacquiao, fight fans everywhere are looking for someone such as the charismatic Mexican star to emerge as the man in boxing. Tonight, Amir Khan stands in Canelo's way. Throughout his career, Khan has had his ups and downs and has now been given huge props for taking on Canelo. But once in the ring, Khan must prove he has the chin and the will to stand up to Canelo Alvarez. Canelo versus Khan is next.
Howard.
Canelo working. That was an assault.
Speed.
Khan wants him right now.
It's a classic matchup of skill versus skill in boxing. Two men in their primes pitting their greatest attributes against each other. Canelo Alvarez is nothing short of phenomenal. At only 25 years old, the Mexican star's power and strength have guided him to thrilling victories from 140 pounds up to and now including the lineal 160-pound title. Amir Khan is a 29-year-old British-Pakistani star who, through his amateur and pro careers, has amassed national and cultural fan bases with displays of unrivaled hand speed and exceptional quickness. Under current trainer Virgil Hunter, Khan boasts a 5-fight winning streak. He now challenges himself with a move up to 155 pounds and a showdown with one of the sport's top stars.
I've got speed, I've got explosiveness, and I really believe I've got the tools of winning this fight.
Yo creo que me falta por dar más en este deporte. Yo creo que todavía no llego al límite.
Tonight, each man represents not only himself, but legions of impassioned supporters. And all boxing fans are sure to revel in one of the sport's most classic style matchups. Power versus speed. Canelo Alvarez versus Amir Khan. Next. Canelo versus Khan is being brought to you by, live from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Cerveza Tecate, born bold. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Doom, fight like hell on May 13. The new movie, Hands of Stone, the true story of Roberto Duran, starring Edgar Ramirez, Robert De Niro, and Usher Raymond in theaters this August. Casa Mexico Tequila, it's in the taste. And by HBO Pay-Per-View, the best in pay-per-view entertainment, brought to you by HBO. Celebrities in attendance here with a distinct boxing flavor. You've already spoken to Gennady Golovkin through the vehicle of our on-camera position here. Heavyweight Luis Ortiz, the new King Kong, is at ringside. Mario Lopez is here, along with his lovely wife. And Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, who may host a Canelo Alvarez Triple G fight at Cowboy Stadium in Dallas if it takes place. He's certainly very anxious to do so. Roberto Duran, subject of the Hands of Stone, later on this year, is here at ringside, as is the great Evander Holyfield, who's had a terrific week entertaining fans and followers of the sport here, and the True Blood love couple, Anna Paquin and Stephen Moyer, big fight fans who often show up at these events. Roy Jones, let's talk a little bit about the psychology of the fight. Amir Khan really has nothing to lose. Will he go into the ring and fight as though he has nothing to lose?
Yes, he will, Jim. One of the things I like about Amir Khan so much is the fact that he stayed amateur a whole year to avenge a loss. That's saying something big. That means he has a set of big ones in him. So he's going to come and fight like he has nothing to lose because he's been trying to land a big fight. He could never land one. Now he has it. What does he have to lose? He's fighting a bigger guy.
All right, let's turn to Max Kellerman and discuss the subject of Canelo Alvarez. Canelo's coming off a relatively cautious decision victory over Miguel Cotto in his last fight.
He's expected to knock the smaller Amir Khan out tonight. Would another decision win compute to a certain degree as a loss for Canelo?
I think it would, unless he were to immediately accept a Triple G fight, and that would silence all the boo birds at that point, who are down on him maybe for not knocking out a smaller guy. There is a sense with Canelo that he's destined for big things, partly because he's willing to do them. At a very young age, fought Floyd Mayweather, one of the all-time greats, and got taken to school and didn't seem discouraged by it afterward, and still has become since then the pay-per-view attraction in the sport.
All right, the late arriving Vegas crowd has shown up. The brand new arena now has a very representative big fight crowd on hand to see Canelo Alvarez against Amir Khan. There are still festivities and hoopla to take place from the ring. So let's go to ring announcer Joe Martinez to kick all that off.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join us as we honor three nations with their respective national anthems. First, singing the anthem of the United Kingdom, please welcome British singing star and Las Vegas headliner, Danny Walton.
Good evening, Las Vegas. It's my great pleasure to be here this evening to sing the national anthem of Great Britain on behalf of one of our favorite sons and our great sporting hero. I need every British voice in this room to join me. Let's raise the roof for Amir Khan and show him that we are here. God save our gracious Queen. Long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen. Send her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the Queen. For Amir Khan. Thank you.
Y ahora, aficionados, el himno nacional de México. Please welcome regional Mexican singer and top Billboard recording artist, Roberto Tapia.
Mexicanos al grito de guerra, el acero aprestad y el bridón, y retiembla en sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Y retiembla en sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Ciño patria, tus sienes de oliva, de la paz el arcángel divino, que en el cielo tu eterno destino por el dedo de Dios escribió. Mas si osare un extraño enemigo profanar con su planta tu suelo, pienso patria querida que el cielo un soldado en cada hijo te dio, un soldado en cada hijo te dio. Mexicanos al grito de guerra, el acero aprestad y el bridón, y retiembla en sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Y retiembla en sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. ¡Viva México!
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as we honor America and the men and women that protect our freedom. Here to perform the Star-Spangled Banner for the United States of America, please welcome the international platinum recording artist, songwriter, and television star, Giancarlo Canelo.
say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's not build walls, let's build bridges. Let's come together, we are one. Si se puede.
Now for the main event. And all the focus has been on weight. Amir Khan gives up 4 years in age to Canelo Alvarez. He's 1 inch taller. He has an arm length advantage of 1.5 inches measured from the armpit to the end of the fist, and that could be significant in exchanges. Both weighed in at 155 pounds, and neither fighter stepped on our unofficial scale this evening, so if there is a functional weight advantage going into the ring, we don't know what it is.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are set to go with our main event. Making his way to the ring first, fighting out of the blue corner, from England, the challenger, Amir Khan!
I've been in this too long. This is my destiny. This is my diary. My life story. This is the way I live. I've been waiting for this moment. I'm a fighter in the water. Where my blood? Now you about to feel my back.
And now to make his way to the ring, fighting out of the red corner, from Mexico, Saul Canelo Alvarez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, live around the world on HBO pay-per-view from the fabulous T-Mobile Arena here in the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. This is the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing scheduled for the WBC Middleweight Championship of the World. Presented by Oscar de la Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions in association with Canelo Promotions. Sponsored by Cerveza Tecate Born Bold, O'Reilly Auto Parts, Casa Mexico Tequila, Doom, out May 13th, and the motion picture Hands of Stone, the true story of Roberto Duran, starring Edgar Ramirez, Robert De Niro, and Usher Raymond in theaters worldwide this August. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, the Executive Director Bob Bennett. WBC President in attendance, Mauricio Suleiman. WBC Supervisor, Charles Giles. The three judges scoring this bout at ringside on the 10-point must system from Nevada, Adelaide Byrne. From Connecticut, Glen Feldman. And from Nevada, Glenn Trowbridge. And when the action begins inside the ring, your referee in charge, Kenny Bayless. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the judges are ready. The fighters are ready. The world is ready. Mexicanos, dile al mundo, make some noise if you are ready. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black with burgundy, he weighed in officially 155 pounds. His professional record in 34 bouts stands at 31 victories, 3 defeats, 19 wins by way of knockout. He is the former two-time world champion, the fighting pride of Bolton, Lancashire, England, the challenger, Amir King Khan! And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner. Wearing red with white, he weighed in also 155 pounds. In 48 bouts as a professional, his record, 46 victories, just 1 defeat, 1 draw, 32 wins by way of knockout. He is the current reigning, defending WBC Ring Magazine Lemieux Middleweight Champion of the World. Presentando el hijo de Guadalajara, Jalisco, el orgullo de México, Saúl Canelo Alvarez. Once again, referee Kenny Bayless with the final instructions.
Okay, gentlemen, chunks are okay on both sides. Anything landing on the belt, I'll consider it low. Now, Saul, Amir, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I want to caution you to keep this fight clean at all times, protect yourself at all times, and what I say you must obey. Good luck to both of you. Touch them up in the sweat.
The good big man usually beats the good little man, and sometimes they make a good fight.
Amir Khan has not been in the ring for a prize fight in 344 days. 21 days short of a year. Will that affect him early, Roy?
Yes, that will affect him early, but because he's such a speedy guy, it won't have the effect it has on normal guys because he's not looking to counterpunch, he's looking to front run.
Round 1 begins. First 2 punches are jabs from Khan.
Doing a very smart thing, Jim. He's not completely running from Alvarez.
Hard right hand by Khan, following the jab. And immediately, you see the hand speed advantage for Amir Khan.
And that's what he had to do, Jim. He had to put something on him and let him know that he has to respect him right away. And right there, Canelo just missed the left hook that he could have got Khan with, but he didn't throw it. Now you saw it. You saw how he saw the setup. He saw that he missed it, then he tried to throw it a second time, but it was too late.
Whenever you've seen little guys move up and beat big guys, they have to make a showing in that first round. They have to land something big. Ali versus Foreman, Roy Jones versus John Ruiz. They have to let the bigger guy know that they're in there with a real fighter.
And Khan is trying to do that right now.
Yeah, he did it right away with that straight right hand.
Got in a left hook there.
But the problem is now that he also has to prove that he can absorb one of Canelo's punches.
Canelo is a measured, patient fighter. There's part of his bread and butter as he fires the right hand to the body and digs it in. Just missing with a right cross across the top.
See, Khan's really got sizzling hand speed.
And not bad power.
Hard left hook by Alvarez in there. Khan took it well.
Yeah, he took that very well.
But we see, when did he get caught with the hook? When he led. Canelo is a natural counterpuncher, wants the other guy to come to him.
Crowd oohs and ahs as again Canelo lands the left. Wasn't big. Khan once again flashing his hand speed in combination.
Can't get too big for his own heart, Jim. He has to keep it basic and keep it smart. He can't go in and just attack like he's a big puncher.
Well, so far, I think Khan's trainer, Virgil Hunter, is going to like this first round because his fighter has shown some aggression, has demonstrated his hand speed, and the one time he got caught with a left hook, he handled it well.
Very well.
Khan's movement, critically important. Can he do it for 12 rounds?
That's the question.
And can he move without running, not waste energy and give Canelo a head of steam?
An excellent first round. And from a tactical standpoint, maybe you make Khan the winner because he did what he wanted to do.
Tell me something. You see everything, huh? Everything. Big beat. Well, make sure you don't stop your feet, okay? I told you will not be able to deal with your speed. You just stay relaxed and keep it at them 1-2 and keep it like you're doing. Okay, he telegraphs everything he does. You remember I told you when he walks in, if he's walking, he has to throw one punch when he's moving his feet. So don't set your feet, okay? You already got his right eye side puffed up. I don't know if you noticed it. Yeah. Keep your eyes on his hands. His punch is going to do it.
Here's see Canelo feint and get caught by that hook right hand. Beautiful straight right hand right on the face of Canelo. Something that he's definitely not used to happening to him in the first round.
And here's how visible it was. 27 nieces and nephews at ringside. And there's the response of one of them being comforted by the boy next to her and the girl to the right after she almost cries from a single right hand that Khan landed.
Not used to seeing him get hit, seeing Uncle Alvarez get caught with shots like that in round one.
Khan trying to get away as Alvarez reaches with a right hand to the body.
Canelo's obviously stepping up the pressure here in the second round.
Moving closer. Trying to breathe on Amir. Forcing Amir to move on his feet.
This is when Amir's movement has to be purposeful.
Fights his way out of the corner with hand speed.
Rather than excessive.
Purposeful, and he also has to make Canelo keep his hands or his defense on high alert.
And make him pay for misses like that.
Yeah, because
another 1-2 that lands for Amir Khan.
Canelo's going for broke, and we see that. That's how you know that Amir Khan hurt him with that shot or got his attention with that shot in the first round because he's trying to get it back already.
Canelo landed a right hand to the body, missed with the left hook. Khan peppers him with jabs and gets picked up.
I don't know if the danger for Khan is just those wild swings by Canelo. The danger is when Khan leads, comes to Canelo, or throws more than 2 punches at a time, and it gives Canelo the chance to counter.
He should only pot shot Canelo until about the 5th or the 6th round. Don't give him that chance to punch between the 2nd and 3rd punch.
Terrific fight so far in terms of tactics, speed, and skill.
Very difficult for Amir Khan to stop himself from throwing 3- and 4-punch combinations if he lands. It may not be the best idea, but his punches flow like water when he's in the groove.
Yeah, they do.
Canelo's issue in the past, fighting fleet-footed boxers, has been cutting off the ring. He seems to have quicker hands than feet. And here it seems Khan is able to move where he pleases.
Like I said, the whole thing will be, can he move like this for 12 complete rounds?
Well, Khan's hand speed and foot speed advantages have shown up. The question now is when or if Alvarez's power advantage will show up as well. Virtually every boxing expert who predicted the fight picked Alvarez to win by knockout. He seems pretty clearly to have lost the first 2 rounds on the scorecard.
Without a doubt.
Breathe.
¿Cómo lo vas sintiendo, hijo?
How are you feeling? Good? Can't get in.
Hay que tener atención porque
Come on, you gotta pay attention because he's so fast and he comes in with his speed, okay? So you gotta be careful there. If you're going in, you gotta be fast, and after you fake, okay? Don't go in slowly because he can catch you because he's got the speed, okay? You gotta flex your waist and attack.
Here we see Canelo finally catch Khan with a beautiful left hook. Looked down and came up, and Khan took that shot well and actually landed a little cross jab of his own back.
Andre Ward grinning at ringside, looking for another fight prior to his meeting with Sergey Kovalev, scheduled in the fall.
Andre is the master of the Virgil Hunter style, kind of consummate professional boxer.
And no doubt pulling for his training mate Amir Khan here tonight. Harold Letterman agreeing with us, as you see, giving the first 2 rounds to the British star. That's not terribly surprising, given the speed advantage.
Of course, he's a front runner, which is why I said that the layoff wouldn't hurt him much, because he's not looking to make shots off of counter shots. He's looking to be ahead.
And Khan took that left hook very well from Canelo.
He's landed 3 of them now. Canelo has landed 3 solid left hooks. He hasn't yet hurt Amir Khan with the punch.
Gonna have to wear him down some before he hurts him, Jim.
My prediction is he hurts him after he catches him with the body shot. In fact, if I were training Canelo Alvarez, I would tell him focus on the body for the first several rounds.
That's what he should have did, but, you know, different trainers have different philosophies.
Good left hook by Khan.
There's a sense, because many Mexican greats of the past have been kind of seek and destroy, left hook to the body kind of fighters, that Canelo should be that too. But that's not really his style. When he's doing it, he's trying to kind of imitate a style that's not completely natural for him.
And guess what? Because that's not his style, that's why he couldn't give Floyd Mayweather the fight that we expected him to give Floyd. Because to give Floyd a fight, that's the fight he would have had to fight.
He's already fallen, Canelo, into the kind of fight that Amir Khan wanted, where you pick your head up after a couple rounds, say, Canelo may be down in this fight. Does he have the kind of tactics to turn it around?
Now you see Canelo doing something smart, though. He's even hitting Khan on the arms very hard.
Let's open up Virgil Hunter, who is Amir Khan's trainer, and listen as he gives instructions. Never fails. Virgil goes quiet.
Need that prevent point! 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 Point!
Okay, so Virgil yells point, point. Either of you guys know what that means?
Could be talking about the pivot, pointing with the left foot, point to the left, point to the right, keep him out of position. Don't stand there and look at him, keep pointing to the left and pointing to the right. Therefore, you're not allowing him to set up an attack straight ahead on you.
This was a pretty even round until Khan landed that one too, right there.
Looked like that right hand bothered Canelo from where I'm sitting.
I make Khan the winner of the 3rd round as well. Not crying anymore in the Canelo family section.
Breathe.
Sin desesperarse.
Without despair, relax. Don't touch yourself when you throw. And don't load up, okay? You don't want to take them out in just one punch. Flex your waist, cut the exits. Fake to the body, fake up top. Okay? Okay.
Okay? As he starts slowing down, we're going to do, okay? Now remember when you're along the ropes and he dock, keep the prevent out, okay? That lead hand and that angle, okay? Keep that straight jab out like you're going to hit him and everything, okay? Going to him, stop it. Breathe deep.
The beautiful new T-Mobile Arena on the Strip in Las Vegas. Very good crowd filling the arena tonight for Canelo Alvarez versus Amir Khan. I think I'm a little too enthusiastic about what Khan did in the last 30 seconds of round 3. Overall, Harold Letterman sees it differently. Harold, what do you have so far?
Okay, so I get a 29-28, 2 rounds to 1 on Amir Khan. Jim, in the 3rd round, I thought Canelo tracked him down, but you know, he tries to move forward slowly, land hard shots, and I thought he did enough for that in round 3 to win the round. I mean, he's obviously the more powerful guy. I thought, you know, he got inside, and Amir Khan didn't dominate him with that left jab like he did in rounds 1 and 2. Canelo got to him, and I thought he got to him enough to win round 3. 2-1, Amir Khan.
Everyone loves the blood and guts, all-out action fights with two guys coming at each other, but this is of a type of a fight in boxing that's among the most dramatic. The smaller, faster fighter walking a tightrope against the bigger, stronger guy so far successfully.
Classic boxer versus classic puncher.
Good right hand, on over the top. Good body shot by Alvarez in return.
And that was the right counterpunch for Alvarez.
That was a devastating right to the body from Canelo.
Left hand to the body by Canelo. Starting to get closer, which is giving him a better chance to land his body shots.
You see Khan, unlike Erislandy Lara, who fought Canelo very tough and close but ultimately lost the decision, Khan's movement is much more purposeful and less wasteful. He remains in position to counter like that when he avoids Canelo's shots.
Alvarez getting his jab going, but he missed with the right hand, and Khan countered accurately in return.
And Khan's quick hands are causing Alvarez a little bit of a problem right now.
The question is Alvarez's power causing Khan a problem? How much is he feeling those punches to the body?
That and Alvarez is using a beautiful jab right now.
Yes, he's landed his jab in this round.
Reminding us of how Triple G came out and used his jab against the kid we saw tonight.
David Lemieux?
Yes.
Khan wound up in an exchange moments ago. That's the danger zone for him. Little bit wild, maybe a few too many punches, exposing him to that counter from Canelo.
Now Canelo doing exactly what he needs to do. Now he's consistently on the hunt, keeping the pressure on Canelo, not allowing Canelo to rest.
Doing a much better job of cutting off the ring here in the 4th than had been the case up to this point.
This is the way you want to see him fight.
A third of the way through the 12-round distance in Las Vegas.
Good time. Way to take that round off and still win. Breathe deep. Feeling good? Huh? Yeah. You got a lot of energy, huh? Keep showing him those jabs, those feint jabs, you know, that sleight of hand, making him think he's going to get hit, and you can bring your other shots off of it, okay? You see he's pulling away from you now? Why? Because he feels your thing.
Here you see the classic power shot by Canelo, that beautiful right, hard body shot right there. Hard punch to the body because he's the more powerful guy. But right here you see the quick guy step one jab, step off the counter, and 1, 2, 3 punches with that quick hand speed before Canelo can get back.
Gennady Golovkin at ringside with his trainer, Abel Sanchez. Triple G is designated by the governing body which controls Canelo Alvarez's middleweight title belt as an absolute must mandatory challenger after this fight. Hard left hook for Alvarez, lands upstairs. He had to reach a little bit, but he caught Khan with it.
I thought Khan's legs wobbled a little bit from that punch.
Just a little bit.
So far this fight has been the best version of what it seemed it could be. And Triple G, if he's hoping for a Canelo fight, at a certain point, I think is going to get a little bit nervous.
Well, almost nobody has conjured the question of whether Amir Khan, with his hand speed, would pose a riddle for Triple G. That's just not something people have even thought about. But Khan does say that he would expect to fight Triple G if he wins the fight.
Long way to go.
Yeah, but Khan has that heart. Khan has a heart that he won't duck and dodge nobody.
Any question about Khan's heart should have been erased when he won an Olympic silver medal at age 17 and then stuck around rebuffing huge financial offers to become a pro so that he could get another chance to fight Mario Quindelón of Cuba, the man who beat him, and win the world championship from him the following year. That's heart.
That's real hard.
This seems to be a pivotal round to me strategically.
Hard punch by Canelo
is able to land more of his big shots that seem to affect Khan, and yet Khan is also not letting the play get taken away from him. They're both fighting, it seems, as well as possible at the moment.
Well, the thing for Canelo right now is he has to do what we want Khan not to do. We don't want Khan to throw 3 or 4 punches because he'll get caught between them. But Canelo has to throw 3 or 4 punches to land that 3rd, 4th, or 5th punch.
Here's the gradual undercurrent, which may ultimately decide the fight. Khan is throwing almost exclusively head punches, and he's outlanding Canelo to the head. But Canelo is piling up body punches. Coming into this round, he had landed 16 to only 3 for Khan. And as those numbers grow, those are like the hidden boats from out in the rural areas. Canelo is building up the body damage on Khan.
But what Canelo can't do is try to stand back and box Khan like he's doing right now, because he won't beat Khan like this.
Ooh, good right to the body from Canelo.
Khan has a redness around that right eye. May have a cut either on the nose or on the eye, or right up under the eye from that left hook earlier.
Khan now forced to acknowledge those Canelo shots.
He's having more and more difficulty getting away from Khan's pressure, as Khan does a better job of cutting off the ring. Or excuse me, Canelo does a better job of cutting off the ring.
That's the shot. See that 3rd shot? Those are the ones that he has to land.
And even though Khan won't let the play get taken away, it does feel like there's been a kind of sea change in this 5th round.
What happened? You want some water? No, no. You good?
Ya lo empezaste a agarrar más,
See, you started to catch him more now. Just like that. Let go of those punches. Be faster. Not so much power because you miss more. Flex your waist. Fix your jab to the top and fake them to the body and then change it up. Change them up. Don't be overconfident, right? You do things right. Block, flex, and fake when you go in.
Here you see Canelo land a beautiful left hook, and it looked like Khan may have been hurting, but it's just the way he is. His movement is so awkward right there. He bounces both feet up in the air at the same time, and he just does that. So I don't think he's really hurt. And here you see a beautiful body shot right to the body by Canelo. Those are the shots that Canelo has to land.
Right hand to the body has been Canelo's best punch all night long. Khan has been landing his jab and sometimes his right hand across the top. But if there's a decisive punch in the flow of the fight so far, it would appear to be Canelo's right hand to the body. Canelo outlanding Khan 36-29 in the last 3 rounds, and as you see, he's won all of those rounds on Harold Letterman's scorecard. So at least on Harold's unofficial scorecard, Canelo Alvarez inching ahead in the fight.
Bring him up.
The longer it goes, the more ringside experts expect the damage to pile up in Canelo's favor. Larger, stronger man. Amir Khan fighting above the 147-pound level for the first time in his career. Canelo at his preferred weight of 155. Hard body shot with the right hand by Canelo.
And now Canelo's outboxing Khan. Khan's attempts are hitting air or gloves, and Canelo's attempts are landing clean.
And that was that third punch that I was talking about. He threw a 1, 2, 3, right hook to the body, left hook to the head, and the left hook and the right body shot landed.
It's just been a simple matter of closing the distance, getting closer, cutting off the ring, creating less and less physical space between himself and Khan. And what a display of hand speed by Khan there.
Exactly. It's because Canelo backs out now and gives him time. Tries to box like he did again with Floyd Mayweather. You can't box a boxer. You have to fight him.
Much harder to do against Floyd Mayweather than anybody else.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you should have learned that from the Floyd fight, and you definitely supposed to impose your will on a guy like this.
I think slowly he is. It seems that over the last several rounds, Canelo's having his way increasingly.
Body shots, body shots. And now the jab upstairs landing with frequency.
Not just that the body shots score points. It's money in the bank, there's a cumulative effect that I think we're starting to see it.
You sap a man's confidence with body shots, as well as taking away his energy. And everybody... Tremendous right-hand shot by Canelo. And Kenny Bayless is stopping the fight. And Canelo Alvarez is the first one there. Canelo Alvarez may have knocked Khan cold with that shot.
He did.
The danger from a shot like that is not only the punch on the chin that short-circuited Khan's legs, it's the fact that the back of his head smacks off the canvas, which is the cause for concern.
A spectacular knockout. A Triple G kind of a knockout. A knockout that's going to make the boxing world want to see Canelo Alvarez do that against Golovkin.
And not to disregard the condition of Amir Khan at this moment, because there's some cause for concern. But that was a really good fight.
Very good fight.
Right up until the end.
That was a fight in which both fighters showed their skills, their command, their commitment to the sport, their conditioning, their understanding of what to do. And it ended the way almost everybody thought it would end, with a power shot by Canelo Alvarez. Khan is awake. Alvarez did his job. Let's take another look at how it happened, Roy.
Yeah, you see Khan just sitting there, threw that jab, not ready. He gave him a feint. Khan was not ready for the feint, and the overhand right caught him because he had held him with the feints earlier. When you hold a guy, you feint him, he doesn't move. Next time you feint him, you go ahead with the kitchen sink. Right here. Feint the jab. He didn't want to hit the jab, just feinted him to get close enough and close the door with the kitchen sink. And that's how you put a guy out.
Very reminiscent of the feint and right-hand combination that knocked out James Kirkland 1 year ago.
Exactly. Same exact shot, just against a right-hander instead of a left-hander this time.
Canelo knew that he had wrecked Khan with that shot, and he was immediately concerned about the condition of his opponent. Kenny Bayless will wave it off. Now watch Canelo come into the picture. On his knees. Great shot. And now let's take a look at the Alvarez family reaction at ringside. No more of that consternation that you saw in round one. Ecstasy as the knockout materializes before their eyes. Virgil Hunter with his fighter. Let's go to ring announcer Joe Martinez with the particulars on the knockout.
gentlemen, the end comes officially. 2 minutes, 37 seconds, round number 6. Your winner by KO victory and still WBC Ring Magazine Lineal Middleweight Champion of the World, Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Final CompuBox numbers. Alvarez lands 16 more total punches, throws 4 more, lands at a higher connect percentage. A lot of that was because he was landing to the body. Amir Khan never even really tried. Power shots, and there's only one of the 42 that really mattered. He lands 14 more, he throws 5 more. He lands at a 51% connect percentage. How many times have we told you if a guy lands 50% of his power shots, he's probably going to win the fight? Punch zone will show you where the punches landed, and you can see that Amir Khan landed a total of 5 body shots, and Canelo landed his right hand to Amir's left side 25 times in the fight. He wore him down, he set him up, he used the brilliant feint with the left hand to freeze him, and he knocked him out with the right hand shot. Max Kellerman stands by with the middleweight champion of the world.
Congratulations, Canelo. That was a terrific fight and a vicious knockout. Let's start at the beginning. Did he surprise you with his speed early?
Desde un principio lo dije, él es un peleador rápido que los primeros asaltos se me iba a complicar. Pero como lo dije también, tengo la experiencia para poder descifrarlo y solamente estaba esperando el momento oportuno y fue lo que pasó.
Like I said from the beginning, you know, he's a fast fighter, he's very fast, and I knew that things were going to be complicated at the beginning, but I knew that time would come to my favor, and obviously you saw that.
Time seemed to come to your favor, not only because you were bigger and stronger, but also because of your boxing skills. As the fight wore on, you seemed to be able to make him miss and counter more effectively. Can you talk about the skills that you showed in this fight?
Así es, como lo dije, muchos peleadores se basan nomás en que tengo poder, pero tengo muchas más cosas arriba del cuadrilátero y es cuando lo ven, cuando ya están enfrente de mí.
You know,
es lo que pasó.
You know, many people focus on my power and talk about my power, but I've got many more qualities in the ring, and people see that, and that's what happened in the ring.
Me gusta sorprenderlos.
I like to surprise everyone.
Well, speaking of that, you seem much more comfortable with a fighter who comes at you than a fighter who runs away. Why is that?
Creo que sí, siempre es más complicado un peleador que boxea rápido, es más complicado, ¿no? Un peleador que viene hacia el frente, que viene a pelear, se da una bonita pelea, y eso todo el mundo lo sabe, ¿no? A cualquier peleador se le dificulta un peleador así.
You know, if boxers are someone that comes into box, it obviously gives you more trouble, obviously. But, you know, someone that comes to attack and comes to press you gives you the opportunity to have a very, very nice fight. But obviously it's difficult with someone who boxes.
There's a guy ringside watching this fight tonight who comes to attack. Triple G.
Yo lo invité a que subiera.
I invited him to come to the ring.
You invited him to the ring? Why?
Yo lo invité a que subiera. Como decimos en México, hay que dejarnos de mamadas. No hay que... Los cinturones aquí se hacen a un lado. Hay que pelear por honor y por gloria nada más.
I invite him into the ring, and like we say in Mexico, we don't fuck around. We don't fight for rings and stuff like that. I don't fear anyone.
En este deporte no se viene a jugar y no le tengo miedo a nadie.
We don't come to play in this sport. I fear no one in this sport.
Does that mean that you will fight Triple G later this year?
Como lo dije en la pelea pasada, ahorita mismo me vuelvo a poner los guantes.
As I said in the last fight, right now I'll put on the gloves again.
Gracias a toda la gente. ¡Viva México!
Thank you, Canelo. Congratulations. Jim?
Well, back to live. We're in ringside with Roy Jones. And Roy, everybody will focus on the spectacle of the hard shot that produced the knockout. But this was another clinically brilliant performance for Canelo Alvarez, who showed his command all the way.
A very brilliant performance by a very good fighter who fought against a very game opponent. A guy who really had no business just trying to jump up and take that, but showed the heart of a champion, jumped up 8 pounds to make a big fight happen. He should be rewarded for that effort.
Well, we're going to reward him with an interview right now. Let's go back to Max with Amir Khan.
Amir, right up to the point that you got hit on the chin with that right hand, that was a terrific performance. What were you thinking as that fight wore on?
First of all, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone. And, you know, I mean, I'm one of them fighters, you know, I'll step in the ring with whoever. And I think it's time now where Canelo needs to step in with Triple G because everyone's been waiting for that fight. So I showed my balls by getting in the ring and getting in the ring with a big guy. But look, I mean, this is boxing. I want to go out there as a champion. I was unfortunately, I didn't make it to the end. But I tried my best, and I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who turned up here, and I want to say thank you for the support.
Given how well you fought tonight against a much bigger, naturally bigger guy, younger guy, you'd mentioned to us in the past that you need that kind of challenge to bring out the best in you. Are you going to go down in weight now, or are we going to see this Amir Khan at your natural weight?
You know, I mean, I'm naturally a 147 fighter, and this challenge came, and it was very hard to turn down. I want to be the best. I want to fight the best, so that's the reason I took this fight. But look, I'll probably be going down. I mean, my natural weight is 147. I'll be probably going down to that.
He took the risk. He gave up everything. No concessions. Now it's time for him to take the risk and quit hiding behind little stuff, okay? Amir took the risk.
Why is it important for you guys that Canelo takes that risk against Triple G? It seems personal.
Because he set the tone. Amir set the tone. Fighters should fight each other. We're setting the tone. He took the risk. He did it. He got to quit hiding behind the flag and fight Triple G.
We all hope to see that fight happen. Amir, it's always a pleasure to watch you fight. Jim?
All right, and as we take one more look at the knockout, we've always known the weak chin was there. You knew that the knockout was possible. Can Amir Khan recover from this and continue to have a great career?
Yes, he can. Amir Khan can always recover from anything because Amir Khan started his career like this. He recovered from the Brady Prescott fight. He recovered from the Danny Garcia fight. Amir Khan can recover from anything. So if anybody in the sport of boxing, if there's anybody that can recover, I would say it is Amir Khan.
Can he be physically effective going back down to welterweight after having come up to 155?
Yes, he can. He can be more effective than he was because if you notice, he took some big shots from Canelo early, and he didn't really go down. He didn't really buckle much. Just that once the fatigue set in, you knew he had a hard time battling fatigue even at 147. So you knew at 154 or 55, he was going to have an even more hard of a time dealing with the fatigue factor.
Let's go back to Canelo Alvarez for a second. We've talked about his craft. We talked about how he set Khan up, stalked him with the body punches, etc. The other thing that's worth mentioning is what an amazingly calm temperament. I don't know how many fighters I've seen who are so constantly in control of their emotions as Canelo Alvarez is.
Man, let me tell you something. Most of the great Mexican fighters, that's the thing you love about them most. Even the babyface assassin. First time you see them, they're so calm under pressure. Nothing rattles them. That's one of the best attributes about Mexican fighters. Nothing rattles their cage. They can be almost on the verge of being knocked out, or they can be on the verge of knocking you out. But their facial expression, their body language never changes. Canelo Alvarez, another one of those great long line of beautiful fighting Mexicans.
Great work, Roy. Always a pleasure to work with you. Let's turn now to Max Kellerman. Max, I'll be honest with you. Amid the din in here, I couldn't hear a word that he said with regard to the potential of a GGG fight. What did he say about fighting Triple G?
He seemed emotional and said, I'll paraphrase and clean it up a little bit, that he's Mexican and he don't mess around. He'll fight Triple G right now. And Amir Khan also, and Virgil Hunter, it seemed emotional about it. Why are they interested in Canelo and Triple G fighting right now? Canelo seems to be responding from a groundswell in boxing among fans after having come out of the Mayweather-Pacquiao era when we didn't get to see that fight when it would be at its best, when they teased us for 5 years and then delivered a dud. I think there's a sense in boxing, no more messing around. The fight is hot right now. That's what people want to see. right now, as Triple G's been saying, are you a businessman or a fighter? I think people want to see two fighters in the ring. Those are the two best middleweights.
A final word on the performance. He already has a superstar image. He is greatly beloved for the way that he fights. Was this his greatest performance?
It was really good, and this is why the Triple G fight's so interesting. Triple G just wants you to stay right there so we can go and get you. And Canelo Alvarez wants to stay right there so you can come to him and he can do his thing. He's a really good counterpuncher, a much slicker fighter than given credit for, Canelo. He does have pop. He has a lot of heart. He seems to take punches very well. This sense that, well, Triple G is an overwhelming favorite, that's why maybe Canelo's side is avoiding that fight. That may be true. Triple G may be the favorite there. But as long as that fight lasts, that's a terrific one. And Canelo Alvarez has real chances against any 160-pounder.
All right. So Canelo Alvarez gets the job done and maintains control of the middleweight division tonight against Amir Khan. But the real middleweight, Gennady Golovkin, was here at ringside and wants to fight him. If you love the sport, this is your chance to get involved. We live in the world of social media. Make your presence felt. Let other fans and all the people in boxing know what you want. What fight do you want to see? If you can spell the words, you know how to do it. Thanks very much for being with us on this edition of HBO's Pay-Per-View Boxing.
Check out our schedule for the coming weeks and months. This Wednesday, it's the next edition of my show, The Fight Game. In June, we're really looking forward to that Vargas-Salido matchup. 1 week later, it's more Boxing After Dark with Rocky Martinez against Vasily Lomachenko and Felix Verdejo against Juan Jose Martinez. Coming in July, Terrence Crawford faces Victor Postol in a 140-pound unification bout. For all that and more, go to InsideHBOBoxing.com. Canelo versus Khan has been brought to you by, live from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Cerveza Tecate, Born Bold, O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Doom, Fight Like Hell on May 13. And by the Weinstein Company, the new movie Hands of Stone, the true story of Roberto Duran, in theaters this August. Casa Mexico Tequila, it's in the taste. And by HBO Pay-Per-View, the best in pay-per-view entertainment, brought to you by HBO. And now for all of us here at the brand new T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, thanks for watching.